NewsLatelymon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this week we watched Better an Egg Than an Eggshell.
Or Seraphmon Awakens, Secrets of the 10 Warriors.
I think I hate you more and more every week. Wow. And No Waymon.
Or Rock Briacking, Thunder. Bokomon's Do Dash or Dash Die Challenge.
You said Bokomon correctly.
I'm not trying to say every word wrong.
I don't know. Poor effort. I give you a solid E for effort.
What? How are you meant to mispronounce it? It's Bokomon, I guess?
Blogmon.
No, but that's actually not saying the word that's there. When I say
Bulgemon.
when I say Awakens, that's the word that's there.
Bulgeman.
Okay, that's not a soft G.
Bulgeman.
It's not a soft G.
We don't know that.
I do.
It could be implied. It could be.
That is a solid G. You can reach out and touch it. It's not going to budge. It's solid.
Is that like your rapper name, Solid G?
Solid G.
All right.
No, it's Omega J.
For DigiNews this week, Tryout is out this weekend. Yay!
That was a great one-person applause.
Yay! I'm sure the audience is applauding with me. Yay! So we'll cover it as soon as we can. So hopefully Saturday.
Tomorrow.
We will be recording tomorrow unless something horrible, terrible happens.
Is it out on Crunchyroll?
It's out tomorrow morning on Crunchyroll. It's actually out 3 a.m. on Crunchyroll.
God, I hope it's not.
It is.
No, I just hope it gets delayed like 3 weeks.
No, it's
That'd be
coming
awesome.
out. No,
That'd be so good.
Yeah, but then we'd have to cover it in 3 weeks. And
that's fine.
And then in 3 weeks you'd say, oh, man,
I'm tired this week.
You're tired every week.
Not as tired.
Anyway, so a new PV came out today.
Which we didn't watch.
Because we've been at work, and it came out like this morning when I was at work, and then I continued to be at work, and now we're recording the podcast, so we haven't watched the new PV yet.
But May got medium spoils out of it and decided, you know what, I'll just tell Jay anyway.
Yeah, but I won't say it here because that's not a place for discussion about that, because we'll be talking about it in like 14 hours, so meh. Then we have some merchandise-related news. So a Sakuyamon figure and possibly a new figure line series was revealed. And it's like this. It's called the Precious Digimon figure series, which is pretty cool. Starts off with Sakuyamon.
To be totally honest with you, when you said Sakuyamon figure and had a big freak out about it, I thought it was the Stealth Atmon.
Oh, Sakushimon. Oh, no, I can see where you got that, yeah.
I was like, who? Okay, sure, you're really excited about this. For some reason.
No, it's Sakuyamon.
Yeah, I know about it now.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just don't really care.
The next bit of news is, I forgot to mention this last week, but a music-themed pop-up shop is coming out, and the previous 8 days has had one of the original Chosen Children dressed up like an idol, which was pretty cute.
They look good.
Like, they all had really cute little designs.
I only saw Joe, you didn't show me any of the others.
I think I sent you Mako.
Nope.
And maybe I'll show you them later, but they're all very cute. Yamato looks exactly like you'd imagine Yamato to look, and that's fine.
They look really cool.
Yeah.
Or what he thinks looks really cool.
Basically. And the Digimon are also done up, so it's pretty cute, and it's making me sad that I'm not in Japan at the moment because it sounds really cool. The next bit of news is that 100 types of different Digimon merchandise will be released at the cinema showings of Try.
What does that mean?
Lots of merchandise that I probably can't get, like including an Agumon glasses case.
Does that mean there's 100 different kinds of item?
Yes.
Or does it mean of the glasses cases there are like 7?
No, there are 100 of each different type.
There's only one kind of glasses case. Then there's one towel. Then there's one drinking glass. Then there's 100 different things.
Yeah, there's 100 different things. Yeah.
Wow, you are not allowed to buy any of them because
I'm not in Japan.
But if you find them, as if things don't get sold.
Some of these things are fairly harder to find. Like, you can find them on eBay, but for a ridiculously high markup.
Yeah, I know, but that sounds like you.
I mean, if I can find that glasses case, that's the only one that I'm really particularly into.
You don't even wear glasses anymore.
I do at work.
Yeah, you never wear them.
At work I wear them. When I'm editing, I wear them.
No, it doesn't count. I don't get to see it.
Yeah, because you're asleep when I'm editing, and when I'm at work, you're also at work.
But glasses! I love glasses!
Beyond the Boundary is a good show.
Oh, it was really good.
Such a good show.
Oh, that'll be my weekly wonder in advance. Yes, sweet. It's mine. You can't take it.
No, I've got something else. I've got something new now. That was like a week ago. I've got something new. I'm with the times. Anyway, so that's exciting. One of the pieces is a replica holy ring, which I believe is a few $100.
That one's strong.
Because it's like I think it might be real gold.
Is it big? Like, would it fit on a cat's tail?
I don't know if it's a ring or if it's like a bracelet.
I don't know if this ring is a ring.
I didn't want to look into it because otherwise I'd want it. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I think it's just a finger ring. So that's something I'm not going to look at. The only one I can imagine myself really looking for is the glasses case, because it's probably not too expensive, and like I'm pretty into the merchandise that I can use all the time. Like I have a Knife of Day towel scarf, which I put on after my run, so I can sit at my desk and not sweat all over the keyboard. And it's really good.
That's how that works.
And I use one of the outdoor bags to transport my gym stuff around. So I'm really into the usable Digimon merchandise. And the last bit of DigiNews is that some new Appmon merch was revealed, and something exciting called the 7 Code Band, which, from what we've seen so far, looks like it would work the similar sort of way as the Apply Driver, but it's on the band, which is quite a big step up from the previous Appmon band toy, which was just a band that could hold 2 of your Appmon chips.
Yay!
So it's about twice as expensive, so I pre-ordered it.
It's like a better version of the Z-Ring bracelet that sucks.
Oh my god, that was it.
Why did you buy that?
Because, like, everyone was hyping it up.
With what?
Everyone just said, oh, it's really good. You'll play it with the Pokemon Sun and Moon game, which is going to be amazing.
I don't think you've ever physically touched it since you put it down.
I used it, and I was like, okay, that's like a gimmick.
Did you use it, or was it near your game and just activated because that's how it works?
No, I used it on purpose, and then I was like, okay, that's a gimmick. I'm bored now. I've seen it work.
It's the worst product.
It is, like, honestly.
It's actually it is embarrassing that the product says works with the game and it doesn't explain it. Yeah. Because if it explained it, everyone would ask, but that doesn't mean it works with the game.
No one would get it if it explained what it did. So that one, it was so hard to find out what it actually did because it didn't come with instructions. If you Googled it online, no one told you except, like, the way I found out was I had to look for review people who were reviewing it.
Didn't I find out what it was for you?
No, you just found a review and said, yeah, it just looks like to be a sound box, basically. But this isn't the Pokecast, this is the Digicast.
Well, we were a merch cast for a bit there.
Yeah. And on to Lost News Lately-mon. First of all, yesterday, well, sort of like 2 days ago, I released it overnight. I released a review on the Ducado's card tin replica, and I just did it was like a quick, like, show and tell 5-minute sort of thing. I was pretty impressed. And even though it was a 5-minute video that I recorded on my phone, it took about 6 hours to upload. Australia. So, yeah, it came out like 1 a.m. this morning, Australia time. And
you were awake. It was weird.
Yeah, because I woke up just to finish uploading it to share it onto social media. The next bit of Lost News Lately-mon is that we're recording episode 92 one day early, so that's next week's episode.
We talked about that.
Yeah, before the recording.
Was it?
Yes, it was before the introduction, Jay.
Okay.
So we'll be recording episode 92, which is next week's episode, one day early, because we'll be wanting to play the Switch, which comes out on the Friday, and we're going to the midnight launch shortly after the recording. So, yay. And then
is that why we're not recording on Friday? Because we want to play the Switch? Weren't we busy?
We were going to pick up the Switch, but then we worked out that it'd be good to just go to the midnight launch on Thursday. So we're doing it.
So why don't we record on Friday?
Because we'll record on Thursday. Because we'll already be together. So we'll record on Thursday.
What?
Because I said so. And because
I'm going to get home at like 2 before work.
How could you just stay the night at mine?
It takes so long to get to work from here. It's really short from my house.
Okay, well, we've got to go home first then.
Okay.
Alright, and then the last bit of Lost News Lately-mon is this week's poll, which is next week's poll. Who is the best human spirit out of the 10 human spirits? And I haven't set this up yet because I've been busy, but I will set it up before this episode is edited and officially released. So hopefully by the time you're listening to the edited version of this, the new poll will be out, and I will link it in the show notes description linked up thing, which I'm pointing.
The answer is option 11.
The script.
The script, but with arms and legs.
The script, but it's smiling a little bit. It's a happy script.
The words at the front, which just says the script, is like bent into a smile.
And on to Obnoxious Synopsis. The first episode that we're watching this week is called Better an Egg Than an Eggshell, or Seraphimon Awakens, Secret of the 10 Warriors. What do you think will happen in this episode?
I think that... What's that Eggmon called again? We always see with running a cafe.
Oh, Digitalmon.
We're going to see a Digitalmon, probably. And there's also going to be a Seraphimon, and we're going to learn about the other 5 warriors, and they're probably going to have a big Dark Masters. Oh, you thought you could defeat Grotomon, right? But there's so many more of us. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
What do you think will annoy you in this episode?
Digitalmon.
So not the fact that they might have prophecies or exposition, because you seem to hate those.
Oh, there's like a secret, and it's like, surprise! No, I don't think so. Better an egg than an eggshell. I wonder what song that's a joke on, because I don't know.
It's the phrase "better an egg than an eggshell."
Is that a phrase?
It's a phrase.
What is it? What does it mean?
I don't know, but it's a phrase, I'm pretty sure.
That's a crap phrase.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be a good episode?
No.
What rating will you give it?
5.
That's your go-to
It is.
prediction rating.
Yeah, I hate the show.
Filler or not filler?
No.
So no filler?
Yeah.
I guess because of the explanation, or maybe. The second episode they're watching this week is No Waymon, or Rock Breaking Thunder, Bokomon's Do or Die Challenge. What do you think will happen this episode?
I think that Waymon will be there. Even though the title says there's no Waymon, there will be a Waymon, because the title's lying to you. Also, I think it will have a surfer voice. But no Waymon. And I think, I don't know what Bokomon is, but I think Bokomon might be an evolution of some kind.
Whose
One
evolution?
of the beast spirits for, I don't know, well, it's weird though, right? Because it's a rock, it's gotta be for Junpei, for sure.
What do you think he'll look like?
He'll look like a bulg.
Right.
You know, a bulg.
You know, a bulk.
Bulg. Also, I think he will look just a small amount like a Kabuterimon, like a little beetle-like, just so they can call it like Fat Kabuterimon.
So you think his English name is going to be called Fat Kabuterimon?
Yes, I do.
Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
Or
Yeah?
Chunky Kabuterimon.
Oh my gosh, that's so mean. But yeah, do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
Yes, how little it resembles Kabuterimon.
Do you think it'll be a
No.
good episode? No? What rating? Let me guess, is it
5?
5? Yeah, there we are. Filler or not
No.
filler? No filler?
No, we did it.
No more filler
On
today?
to the show.
Okay, so
Screw this.
you don't have any more thoughts?
Let's go.
You just want to rate 5 for
I'm
everything,
already
apparently.
sad. Let's see how sad I really am.
Well, hopefully you're not so sad. Let's find out how sad you are. Episode 13 is called Better an Egg Than an Eggshell, or Seraphimon Awakens, Secret of the Ten Warriors. And it starts off with Grodomon talking to Arbamon, Ranamon and Mercurymon, and they're going to the forest terminal to get the spirit back. And Ranamon says it's interesting. In the dub, there's much more discussion and dialogue between them, and even Duskmon talks, which is weird because he hasn't actually spoken in the originals yet, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's not meant to. He's meant to be all mysterious and dark.
Yeah, that's the thing about Duskmon. And there's, instead of like all this silence between like, you know, the evil spirits, Ranamon says in both versions, sounds like fun or sounds like interesting. And it's basically the same, and that I just found that interesting that they kept it the same.
In Japanese, is she the exact same voice actress as Izumi?
I don't know.
She sounds really familiar.
She might just have, you know, girl voice number 1 and girl voice number 2, and they're very similar girl voices.
Could be Japanese Yoli actor. I don't know. But
I don't
she
know.
sounded real familiars. Also, yeah, Dustmon commenting in English is weird. Also, he now looks like, now we got a closer look at him, he's Blackwell Greymon crossed with Omnimon.
Oh, no, I can see
He's
that.
got Blackwell
no, I can see
Greymon's
that.
face, and he has Omnimon's big face hands. And I looked up Omnimon just to make sure it's not just an evil Omnimon, but his shoulder plate's different.
Okay, so I looked up the voice actress for Ranamon, and she was Pumpmon, and she was I.
Random.
So
I
was
wouldn't have recognized either of those.
I was Itmon's female tamer, and Pumpmon's
Yeah.
obviously
Both
Pumpkinmon.
useless. Okay, I was just mishearing it. Maybe at faster speed she sounds different.
Yeah.
Well, at regular speed she probably sounds unique.
Yeah.
So the kids make it to the forest terminal area.
Oh, also, just one interesting bit in the dub. Duskmon comments on whether or not the Digimon that he's working with are truly his brethren.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, at this part he did. He said something later on about it too, for memory. But he talks, and I don't think in either of these episodes he actually talks at all, right? In the original.
I only remember what he said when he talked to the English in the second episode.
About these mon, yeah.
It's awful!
Yeah, he's awful. I wish he didn't talk. But the thing is, in the original, he's spooky and mysterious and kind of terrifying, actually, if you look at him.
Big spoops!
He's quite scary. So yeah, sorry, you were saying the kids arrive at the forest terminal?
And they, see a restaurant, and they go to walk in. I don't know if you noticed, but the restaurant's door, and with the hanging down stuff and the little windows on top, it looks like a big face eating them.
Oh yeah, it's a face.
And I was like, oh, it's gonna be evil, it's gonna be a whole thing,
Yeah.
and this Daramon's is gonna give them free food to trick them. And he just gives them free food, they try to eat it, it's bad, and then they leave. Yeah, I know they have like a conversation and stuff, but it's stupid.
So, in the original, he says, "Oh, look, visitors. I haven't had a visitor in so long. I'm going to just give you your first meal free."
That is the worst business strategy ever.
In the dub, he says it's free because the first meal is always free, which is a worse business strategy.
That is a lot worse.
It's a lot worse considering if he was a good chef and you were like, I have to eat this again, that's a good business strategy. But because he's a bad chef,
a crack dealer.
He never makes any money because he's a bad chef. So it's disgusting. And Bokomon says that even though it's free, it's disgusting. And Neemon says they should get a discount. I love them so much. In the dub, Bokomon is polite and he says, "I will respectively decline your offer for food." And Neemon says he can't feel the tongue, that's fine. But I still like Neemon in the original asking for a discount. That's my highlight of the episode.
Well, you can have 50% off. It'll still be free.
Yeah, it's still free. You can get 100% off, but if it's free, it's still free.
It already is 100% off.
No, well, it's 200% off.
Like those Steam games that are 107% off during sales, and they owe you 50 cents or something.
Yeah.
So Daramon's... really the point of the scene is for Daramon to, explain to them, oh, things are bad here, you shouldn't have shown up. And then the kids to say, but we need to be here, so I don't know.
Also, Daramon's face, when he tells them how dangerous the forest terminal is, it just looks like a completely different anime. I took a screenshot, and I'll just get it up.
Well, it's weird, though, for him to say that, right? Because there is no danger in the forest terminal.
Look at this hyper-detailed face.
That's a scary face.
It is so hyper-detailed.
If you think about it, there's no danger. The only danger that ever showed up was not from the forest terminal, right? So I don't know what he's on about. But anyway.
It's just to add, maybe a bit of mystery, maybe a bit of, a bit of suspense. Ooh, it's dangerous. Ooh.
When, the kids basically just leave. I know there's other stuff going on, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, I know. But there's differences, and we have to discuss the differences. So, Takuya says that, you're just trying to scare us, and I don't believe anything that you says, because I can't believe anything. I don't believe
what you says.
Yeah, I can't believe anything that someone who cooks as bad as you says.
That's dumb.
What, Takuya? What is your damage, buddy? In the dub, he says that whatever is at the forest terminal can't be as bad as what he just ate.
Fine.
So it's the same sort of thing. Then when they're walking off...
I honestly was is this a waste of time? I didn't understand what the point of the scene was. There is a reason the scene exists, but it's it is not what you thought.
It is filler to the episode. The episode itself is not filler.
This is more or less filler.
But the first half of the episode is filler.
They justify it slightly.
Arguably, you could put episode 13 and 14 together and both make them 20 minutes long.
Take Waymon out.
Oh, no, he's there just to be plot convenience for the spirit.
If they replace Waymon with the train just taking them further, it'll be the same.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. So Junpei then wonders if it's actually okay and maybe they should listen to Daramon. And I'm kind of liking this about Junpei, and it's something that I always liked about Joe in Digimon Adventure, which was there's the voice of reason, and they're a bit more sensible. They're just sort of saying, look, we don't know if it's safe or not. Should we really be so gung-ho about this and just wander blindly into something that might kill us? Because, yeah, I know we have to do this, but we also might die.
Yeah, but he's not always the voice of reason. He's very 50-50. He's most often kind of the voice of cowardice until impressing Izumi shows up. Then he's then he fights the voices of reason to do other stuff. He's not consistent, and Joe was very consistent, and that was why you liked him.
Yeah, that was in the first arc when he was being guys, should we maybe investigate a bit more? And even when he says, "Oh, let's climb the mountain, we might die," but he was still being the voice of reason, even saying, "Look, it's dangerous, but it's something we have to do."
You might describe this man as reliable.
Oh, you might, or sincere.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Anyway, but what I was just about to say was, have you noticed that Junpei, Tomoki, and Izumi basically have character traits? They just kind of switch with each other quite often.
Not really.
They each jump around from being the voice of reason to the one they have to look after, to the baby, the brave one in certain moments. They could all be. What I'm saying is they can all be replaced as one character.
Sure. The really young fat girl, all of the same.
We never get a fat girl.
That's fine. It's a kid's show. They don't exist.
Girls don't exist in this anime.
You're right. Not in this one, they don't.
So Tomoki says to Junpei, look, we've come too far to back out now, and I like this part because it's a bit brave.
It's not true, though. Just leave.
What I really like is it's the same in the dub. They didn't change this line. And how often does that happen when we get an actual good moment that the dub doesn't put in a joke? There was no joke here.
Very rarely.
It was almost the same word for word. Like, I mean, yeah, they might use different words, but it was quite similar in its intention, and I thought that was really great because that often doesn't happen. In the dub, Junpei is scared of ghosts and keeps complaining about walking, and this is instead of silence. So
they changed that at least.
Yeah, instead of like the last line being so similar, they then make a very drastic change, which is like, oh, by the way, Junpei is a coward, remember?
So they're going up a tree, and they're just walking up these stairs inside a tree, because I guess it's the forest terminal, hey, why not? And all of their detectors are, like, kind of giving them various... They're all collectively leading away. Like, one of them points out the right fork in a path, another one opens up a blockage, and another one takes all the fog away. And it's like, alright, fine, I guess... And then they find a big castle in the tree sky. And Koji opens the door, doesn't he?
Yeah, and...
Well, Sorcerymon did that.
No, well, Koji goes to open the door, I'm pretty sure. And Azumi says that some royalty must live in this palace. And Koji says that if that's true, they must be captive. Then, in the dub, instead of that, Zoe says that Sleeping Beauty was in a castle. And Koji then says that wicked witches also live in castles.
Do they? I thought they lived in huts in the forest.
In Rapunzel, she does, I think, but that's about it.
In the castle?
Yep.
Rapunzel's just a tower. There's no castle.
I thought the witch was there.
But
that's
just a tower.
Yeah, you're right. No, I don't know. So then Takuya uses a door knocker, but the Digivice opens the door instead.
Great.
Because why would you ever want to use a door knocker, right? Why would you... You've seen all your friends use their Digivice to part the way and to open things up. Why would you even try to use a door knocker? I would just start madly pressing buttons on my Digivice.
You know what you could do? You could scan the code for the door and just remove it.
That's what the bad guys would have done.
Yeah, it's genius. Oh, well, they didn't. Genius, though. Let's see.
So Sorcerymon's at the door, and he asks if they're allies of Trubimon.
By the way,
Yep.
I know his name is Sorcerymon, but we all mean Ice Wizardmon, right?
Yeah, he's White Wizardmon.
No, his stuff has a snowflake on it. He's Ice Wizardmon.
Yeah.
Just like Ice Devimon. Like, I can't believe they didn't call him that. It seems clear to me that in his design that's what they called him, and then somebody stepped in and was like, "No, that's dumb."
Well, it's like Goblimon and Shamanmon.
No, but it's not that. It's like specifically ice, because he's ice themed.
Yeah. No, okay, I get that. But I think it's because it's meant to be, like, Wizardmon is a wizard, and Sorcerymon is also another sorcery is something a wizard does.
I get why it's that. But, like, it's Ice Wizardmon. That's who he is. He's got ice stuff on him.
Well, Jay, you know his name, but not his story, alright?
I do know his story. He gets murdered.
Yeah, because, they have to kill anything that looks like Leomon or Wizardmon, apparently.
But I don't think he shows up as often. Like, there wasn't any of him in Tamers at all. So...
Too busy being dead.
Alternatively, this is white. This might just be the original Wizardmon's ghost.
Spoopy, scary Wizardmon. So Koji then says that they're not Sorcerymon's enemies, and then Takuya says that a strange woman has requested them to be here. In the dub, Sorcerymon there's a bit of an extra dialogue bit here, and he says how he's seen so much fighting that he always just assumes somebody's an enemy.
I think that's interesting. It's probably a good addition, because
I like this addition because it's not just done for wackiness and for fun, like, oh, look at these wacky wailing characters, woo! It's adding a bit saying, yeah, I've seen so much war, I can't recognise other things as good anymore. I think everything's trying to kill me.
What it feels like to me is them, like, some of the writers saw a bit of a crack. They're like, yeah, but would he stop just because, like, a woman told them? Okay, well, you have to explain another, like, just give him something else why he's not attacking them. And it's simple and it's fine.
Yeah, no, I like this edition. Every so often they'll make an edition which isn't entirely terrible. So then, back at the Deramon's restaurant, he's going to taste his own food to see if it's really that bad. In the dub, Deramon says it's a simple recipe of 1 egg, pasta, oil, and dirty socks, and he says he followed the recipe perfectly.
Whose recipe was this? Also, was there just a dirty sock on the recipe?
Apparently.
So this sort of justifies why that initial scene happened at all, in that all the evil spirits come in and, like, interrogate him.
Yeah.
For, like, where did the kids go, basically.
But it's cut.
Yeah.
They cut this out in the dub because it's pretty violent. Like, the evil spirits just start harassing him. Grodomon strangles him, and Ranamon's saying that she'll punish and torture him if he doesn't give them the information that they want. And then Arbamon just starts eating the noodles, which I love, because this is the only time we've ever seen, and I think ever will see, Arbamon open his mouth, even to talk. Arbamon does not open his mouth. When he was eating, we saw these two little fangs, and he's eating. It's kind of adorable.
Also, for the record, like, it's not like strangling the birds that bad anyway. It just uses its gills to breathe.
What? Gills? Were you trying to make a joke? Because I don't think that joke successfully landed on target there, Jay.
It landed for me.
Apparently you're laughing, but I guess someone had to.
What was funny was your reaction of, wait, hold on a moment. Birds don't have gills.
I was trying to find the joke there, because, like, well, I'm pretty sure that's a joke, but it's just not funny. It's just saying, look at that leaf. Don't you like the way that it sparkles? Wait,
Is this a pigeon?
Is this a pigeon? But that makes sense. Now we've seen the whole video.
Doesn't.
We've seen the whole video now.
Oh, it's true. That makes sense in that context.
What a good meme.
Big memes. So Sorcerymon's showing the children sort of the way in, and there's music in the background. And Koji still thinks it's a trap. And Tommy's like, you think everything's a trap.
Only in the dub, Koji thinks that it's a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's silence in the original.
And in English, Sorcerymon's like, yes, according to the prophecy.
So, yeah. This was not said in the original, but I'm pretty sure in the dub, Sorcerymon says prophecy about, like, 20 times.
Then he rips his head off, and it's Genai underneath.
It was because of a prophecy. So Sorcerymon shows them Seraphimon, who's kind of, like, enclosed in crystal, and Sorcerymon says he's one of the angel Digimon. In the dub, again, Sorcerymon just starts talking about the prophecies and fulfilling the prophecies and, you know, following the prophecies and doing all the prophecy things, and it's fantastic.
It's not.
And the prophecy was saying how a group of humans were going to save Seraphimon, and he says, like, prophecy in every sentence through his explanation, and I don't know why this was necessary.
You want to love? When
prophecies?
Prophecies are already done, if you only find out about them afterwards, they're really straightforward. It's like, if it's like the winning lottery ticket, and you win, you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. Someone goes, yes, according to the prophecy, you would, on February 22nd, 1982, buy a lottery ticket for this X amount of money, and on this day you would scratch it and win the lottery. And you're like, why didn't you tell me that beforehand? Because prophecy! And then you slap him in the face and run.
Yeah, basically. So Bokomon says that he didn't even know about this at all. But
it should be in the book.
Yeah. In the dub, Bokomon's complaining about how humans always get to do everything, and he wants a turn. And Neemon says, you can go next.
But he doesn't want to do things. He's a big coward. He's a nerd.
He's my child, and I love him
I like
so
him
much.
too.
And I don't know why they made him kind of, like, complaining in this scene instead of just saying, well, I never knew about this.
He probably had a complaining face.
Well, he did kind of, like he was looking in the other direction. And so they made it to complaining for some reason.
Yay.
So the woman in the Digivice starts talking.
You mean Ophanimon?
Yeah, and says the children have to gather their Digivice light, and Sorcerymon says, hey, it's your Ophanimon. So, BT dubs, it's your favourite Digimon, Ophanimon.
You mean Holy... Wait, no, I do like Ophanimon.
Yeah, Ophanimon's the one you like.
Yeah, it's the correct one, which this season proves by putting them with Seraphimon. This is exactly why it's correct.
This is why people prefer Ophanimon to Holydramon.
No, this isn't why. This is just proof of why.
Even though Holydramon was revealed first and was always said to be Tailmon's ultimate, this season was just like, hey, look, another angel with Seraphimon.
Yeah, but there was that movie... No, the movie had Holydramon in it.
Yes, and the games.
She turns into Ophanimon in
a game that came out alongside Frontier, and they were using the Frontier Digimon. Then she was Ophanimon. But that was years and years after 02. In all the things that came out before Frontier, it was always Holydramon. And in Try, it's going to be Holydramon.
Oh, I don't care.
I know, but Holydramon's the best. So, and then we noticed that this dub is going to have a field day because Seraphimon and Sorcerymon and Arbamon, and the next episode has Waymon and Borgmon, and neither of them...
Mouth.
But no, they don't move when they talk, so the dub can just put in whatever lines they like and make them sound as wacky as possible. They're so happy. So, yeah, no mouth. Sorcerymon says that he's been protecting Seraphimon for Ophanimon.
That doesn't make any sense. Because if anyone's going to get to Seraphimon, they have to break the crystal and let him out. And then he'll defend himself.
So the Digivice light breaks through Seraphimon, and Seraphimon kind of just lowers out. And there's this really awkward bit of animation where he's just sort of floating, and then he floats to stand upright, and it's really rather awkward to watch.
I think you mean elegant?
No, I just feel like they're just moving the frame with Seraphimon in slightly.
That's my favourite.
He's just floating in, and I'm not sure if we've mentioned or not, but Frontier has pretty good animation compared to other seasons of Digimon.
This is how they animated Saint Gargomon.
And then there's this lazy piece of like slightly sliding him and rotating the frame on the background, and it kind of looks weird. So, Sorceremon says that Ophanimon found a way to help Seraphimon, and now that he's awake, he can help guard against the final collapse of the world, which is kind of dark.
A little bit.
In the dub, Sorceremon says that he's always dreamed of fighting alongside Seraphimon, and then Seraphimon says that he's a true loyal warrior. Takuya asks Seraphimon why they're here, and now we're going to get exposition, I guess. So it's the exposition time with Seraphimon. So Seraphimon basically says the story that we already sort of know of before, and it's about the fight between the human and the beast Digimon, and how Lucemon brought peace and then got corrupted, and then had to be defeated by the Warrior 10. In the dub, Bokomon interrupts and says this all sounds very familiar because he'd already told us the story before.
Is he being sassy?
In the dub, yes. In the original, nobody interrupts. And I guess it makes sense that he interrupts because, yes, we already do know this story and we have been told this by Bokomon, so I'm glad that at least the dub is saying, hey, we've already kind of shown you this animation and kind of already shown you this story before.
Yeah, but there's a difference between character reads from book and person who was there recounts it to you. Although that said, they should have changed the details of that story to be more accurate.
We do get a bit more, so it's about Cherubimon, Ophanimon, Seraphimon, who came to protect and preserve the peace of the digital world.
And they became the Triforce.
Yeah. Basically. And Cherubimon got corrupted and attacked Seraphimon and imprisoned him alive in stone.
Yes, stone. That's what that was.
Yep, not crystal. Definitely not. Not the same crystal that made in the palace. So, Sorcerymon says that now Seraphimon's awake, Seraphimon and Ophanimon can defeat Cherubimon together and bring back the peace.
Does this imply that Sorcerymon never met Seraphimon beforehand? He just showed up and then he was trapped there?
Yeah, he was just kind of the guardian and he's never actually met him before. He's just kind of there.
What if Seraphimon was let go and he was just a big douche?
Yeah, he's a fanboy. He is a Seraphimon fanboy, this Sorcerymon. He wears like the Seraphimon shirt and says, I love Seraphimon, and it's got Seraphimon like in chibi and a heart.
He seems to act like he knew this story already, doesn't he?
Yes.
But there's nothing necessitating that he actually did know.
It was because of a prophecy, Jay.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So then, what am I in my notes? Seraphimon
says the children have achieved.
Says that they've, achieved great things, but now they have to go home because Seraphimon is going to start fighting and he wants the kids to be safe.
That seems like a fair request.
I know, but when have we ever seen it? I guess we saw it in Tamers when the gods said, you can go home now, BT dubs.
Yeah.
Even though home was more dangerous.
That's a good idea. They should all leave.
So Takuya asks what it is that he's saying, and it's pretty obvious what he's saying there, Takuya buddy. Izumi then asks why they have to go back. Then Grodomon shows up and introduces the other spirits. And
we have all arrived now, suddenly.
Yeah, and they're talking, and Mercurymon's saying, hey, we should probably just not talk and just defeat Seraphimon, alright?
What level are these spirits, guys?
They are all human spirits, so they're all the same level as the human spirits.
So they're all adult level, right?
Approximately adult, yes.
And Seraphimon is a mega?
Ultimate mega, yes.
So, shouldn't he... We've seen Gigasmon, only one level higher than all of the kids, stomp them all flat.
Yes.
And Seraphimon is 2 levels higher than these guys.
Yes.
Shouldn't he stomp them all flat?
Look, I like the way they kill them, and I guess since we're talking about this now, I guess I can say it. So I really like how they killed him by doing a mirror image of his attack.
And that was don't like it.
But that was the way they killed him, was they had to use his attack against them because that was the only way they had a chance. And that's better than all of a sudden, by the way, all these adults can overpower this holy Digimon.
Well, I definitely think that. But at the same time, Seraphimon saw him use the mirror thing before. Then he threw his shot, and then he went into the mirror, and then he stood there and let it come back at him. So, yeah, sure, they came up with a way for them to get a power level to beat him, but they had to make Seraphimon the dumbest Digimon in the world for it to work.
Yeah.
How stupid does he have to be?
Yeah, well, to be fair, Mercurymon does it twice, and Seraphimon should have known after the first time, oh, I'm not going to attack that guy because he will just reverse my attack.
Also, just stand there. I wanted his mirror shield. He's yelling something about reflected attacks. I'll just say I can probably take it.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone about it in a better way, but I like that they appear to have tried a little bit.
Like the most minute amount.
So, Randomon says that Seraphimon's cute in the original.
Great.
I just thought that was an interesting bit. And Grottomon says that he wants his beast spirit back. Azumi wishes that she had her spirit, and I'm just kind of annoyed because Takuya has Gigasmon's spirit. Why won't he just give it to Azumi to fight with?
The only answer I can give, because it would be really useful to have Gigasmon's spirit, is that they're not compatible with anything that isn't their own thing. If it didn't come to them out of destiny, then they can't use it. That's my only guess.
And I believe we had a message today in Postmon Pat that says something quite similar, but I guess we'll get to that in Postmon Pat. So, in the dub, the evolution is padded out from a 4-way split to 2 2-way splits.
Why?
Because they cut out that entire scene with Deramon.
Oh, but...
With the other human spirits.
But why?
Because they needed to fill extra space.
But why?
So, Ranamon's attack is that she rains on them a little bit.
Get it, Rainamon.
Yeah. And Arbamon punches them with his punchy punches.
Get it? He's made of wood, so he punched them.
And Mercurymon, who seems to be the voice of reason in the group, says, why are we fighting them? We should be fighting Seraphimon. You guys are idiots.
And Seraphimon, who's standing there, would be like, oh, right, I should be helping.
And then he attacks. And then he tells the children to run, and Tomoki and Junpei want to stay back and help him. Mercurymon reflects his attack and kills him, and then scans Seraphimon's data and turns him to a Digi-Egg. Then Sorceremon says the digital world is finished. And then Izumi says, not quite, and she does something useful. She runs, and she grabs the egg.
While
and
everyone stands there and watches her.
And she doesn't fall over. She was
Very
actually
impressive.
given a moment that didn't end in her dying.
Here's a question. First of all, I mean, everyone's just saying they're watching. But also, what is the data they took out of Seraphimon? Like, I get that it's his energy and stuff, but what is it used for in this universe? In Tamers, all the data and stuff was just, oh, you loaded them, you got more powerful, right? But in this universe, whatever you take has a use. Oh, you took the data of a mountain. Okay, but if you release it, it's still a mountain. This, if you release it, does he become Seraphimon again?
I think it's his power, just like it was in Tamers.
But, well, does that mean that Mercurymon is now as powerful as Seraphimon? Did he get a crazy upgrade? I don't think so.
He should have.
Yeah, but I don't think he
in the
did.
Tamers way, it should have given him a lot of strength. So this part gives Sorceremon hope, and he realizes that the goblin, which is what he calls Grottomon, doesn't know that where Ophanimon is, and that she's still out there, and how the Digitimer must be protected at all costs. In the dub, Sorceremon says that Ophanimon might be able to revive Seraphimon. I'm not sure where he's getting this idea, but you got to admire the guy's spirit,
Is
right?
that big spoils? Is that where the plan comes from now?
I can't remember.
I
don't
assume
think
that's
so.
what happens.
I don't think so. I can't remember though. Sorceremon reveals a button out of nowhere, just sort of appears
He's got
behind
magic.
him.
He's got magic. It's okay.
Okay. And it makes the children disappear. So magic, I guess.
Well, it breaks the big wall, and there was a door there, so they ran through it.
Yeah, the children then run down the hallway, and at the end is a Trialmon because plot convenience
Who was
Trialmon.
just sitting there?
Just chilling.
This isn't an actual train. This is a Digimon. Was it not bored?
Yeah, I think they just live there. I don't know. They're pretty chillin'. Sorceremon stays behind because he had to die apparently, and this part makes no sense. Why? He didn't delay the human spirits in any way. I don't know why. I don't know why he couldn't have just grabbed on. This is the most plot convenient death in the world. He just oh, I can't go with you. It's like there's no room or anything. He could have jumped aboard with them.
You know what would have been smarter?
What?
If he blocked the door with his foot on the other side.
Yeah.
He didn't need to stay on the other side of the door with the beast, with the other with the evil spirits. He could have followed them through the door, then just not gone on the train. Then he would have.
But that's what happened. He was standing just.
I thought he was on the other side. I thought he closed it between him and them.
I think whatever happened, it was stupid.
He was in the hallway, but be on the other side of the door. A, it's a more defensible position, and B, the bad guys would be confused for a little bit longer.
Oh, I feel like he died so quickly, it made no difference. I feel like Sorceremon could have just jumped on board, but he had to die because he had to die. It was in the script. I don't know.
How was Seraphimon not murdered earlier?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just didn't know where he was.
And, like, how do they really... Okay, so it's weird to think that the kids' Digivice detectors, whatever, cleared the way on that tree that I guess was supposedly there to make sure the bad guys never, ever, ever found Seraphimon.
Yep.
But once they cleared it, it didn't relock itself behind them.
Yep.
It was just clear and open.
Yep.
Fine and then all the bad guys can just show up whenever they want.
So it's actually beneficial that the children didn't find that, because really they didn't get much worth out of the expedition.
Yeah,
did
what did
they
they get? They got told the story again?
They got given exposition and a prophecy and a digi-egg that they wouldn't even have to worry about because they wouldn't have died.
But wasn't the prophecy that they would show up there?
Yeah, the prophecy was they would show up there and Seraphimon would win the fight. But that didn't happen, so it's not a prophecy because it didn't come true. It's a failed prophecy.
It's not a prophecy, it's an educated guess.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, that's good times.
That's a good one.
And yeah, that's the episode. They book it on train.
Takuya tells Tomoki not to cry. In the dub, Azumi tells him not to cry because it's not helping anyone. And it's a lot harsher when Azumi says it in the dub than when Takuya says in the original, because Takuya's quite calming. He's quite, like, brotherly. Azumi just says, well, you're not helping anyone, Tommy. Shut up.
Just like a sister.
Takuya and Azumi say that they'll make sure the egg's protected. In the dub, Takuya narrates the ending a bit, and he says that they have to protect it because it's a last hope for the digital world, and he doesn't want Sorcerymon's sacrifice to be in vain.
Which it kind of was anyway.
Yeah, he kind of just could have not died, but, you know, script and stuff.
It's weird there's not Rika.
No, Rika did say something at the end.
Oh, but it's weird that his narration's immediately followed by hers.
Who cares? Rika's a better character, right?
Yeah, okay. Not at this time, though.
What do you think of this episode as someone who was new to Digimon?
Bad.
It was alright.
Bad.
Like, it had problems.
It had lots of problems. That's why it was bad.
It could have been a much shorter episode, as we mentioned, that the first half could have been cut down. Because really, the Deramon part was only so the evil spirits knew where to go. But they could have I would have just readily believed that they followed them.
Yeah, it's like, look, a footprint. We did it. We wrote around it.
Or we see in the next episode that Mercurymon kind of can see things that are happening through his mirrors.
Oh my god, I forgot. He has his, like, weird, like, security camera thing set up.
So just say, oh, Mercurymon found him because mirrors, I guess.
Yeah, like...
That's fine.
If Grodomon would never have had that power, but if you just say Mercurymon always had that power, then we can go with it.
Because he uses basically the same thing in the next episode, so... As we've said quite often for Frontier, and I hope I'm not beating a dead horse at this point, but the Frontier so far is a lot of plot convenience.
It's, like, I feel like they had written... Okay, hold on. I feel like all of the animation was done, and then they were handed it, and they were like, write a script around this. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Or something like that. It feels... Very that's what they used to do with comic books. The illustrators would do the entire thing,
really,
and the writers would put the words in afterwards to make it fit and make a story work with it.
Oh wow, I don't know, I never knew that.
It wasn't all of them, but it was some of them did it that way, and it's a terrible system.
I mean, it feels very lazy and like almost it feels hard.
And like, but it requires the least amount of steps. It doesn't require a script. Okay, script go to Illustrator. Okay, Illustrator back to the writers. You can just have step 1, step 2. And it was cheap.
Yeah, it would be cheap. Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, and I don't know. With this one, I feel like they were told your episode's about this, and the writers go, okay, fine, let's crap out an idea to get them from A to B. And it doesn't matter what the quality of that idea is, because we got 50 episodes to fill, and we've got 20 episodes worth of ideas. And we're saving them, apparently.
What would you rate this episode?
God, I don't even know. It was just boring. The problem with this episode, and stuff happens in it, but no one does anything smart ever. Everyone is just... You're just yelling at the screen of how dumb everyone is all at once. So it's a 4.
I originally gave it a 7, but after talking about it, I think I'm going to give it like a 6 or 6.5 or something. Because there were bits that I liked, but at the end of the day, it's very, like, intensely plot convenient.
You know what's the worst part of this episode?
What?
The Deramon bit, which we said is total filler and a waste of time.
Was the best part?
Was the best part of the episode by a long way!
Yeah, because it was funny. Like, I enjoyed it.
What a discount.
That's a funny line. And that's from Neemon, Bokomon and Neemon, I feel like when I first watched Frontier when I was like 13, I feel like I didn't like them. Maybe it's because I was watching the dub, I don't know.
Gold. No, they're gold in both.
Yeah, but I feel like I was annoyed by them, like that they, detracted from the kids. But there's a reason they detract from the kids.
Because
they're
the
better.
kids is trash you need them to be distracted from.
They have the best one-liners. They're the bits I'm finding funny. I feel like without them, I feel like I couldn't get you to watch Frontier.
Well, you could. I gotta do this show. But it would be even worse than it is.
I feel like they always add to the best parts of the episode, and even in the dub, when Bokomon's being upset, saying, "Oh, well, I wonder why this sounds familiar." That's actually kind of funny, because we were told this before by Bokomon. And the kids are acting like it's new information, and Bokomon's, he's had a bit of enough of these kids. He's told them things, and they're kind of just ignoring him, really.
Bokomon has one of my favourite lines in English, for sure. I think one of my favourites of the entire season thus far is just in the first episode, or the second episode. It's when he takes the book out of his belt and he goes, "Behold!"
Yeah.
He's so proud of himself.
Oh, he's so happy.
Oh, I love it.
My precious son. I love him. I love Neemon too. They're both... I feel like I don't give Neemon enough credit.
Yeah, he's a good, good foil.
I definitely hated him more than Bokomon in my first watch through. But now I love them both equally because can we get a discount of this free meal? That's gold.
Alright, are we going to compare to Obnoxious Synopsis?
Obnoxious Synopsis. What think?
I said there would be a Digitalmon, and I was really wrong. There was a Seraphimon, that was true, and I thought that the bad guys were all beast legendaries, and I was wrong, which was surprising. And yeah, the very poor explanation of the other beast spirits and all their secrets. Yeah, Secret of the Ten Wars, there were no secrets involved. It was the same story we already knew. That's not a secret. It's published. It's not a good episode. It's worse than I thought it was, and it's not filler. Let's move on.
I mean, we found out about Ophanimon being the woman in the Digivice.
Nah.
So, we got an anon a few weeks ago, and it said, "Why does May keep on saying that Ophanimon is the woman in the Digivice? Doesn't May remember that it's Ophanimon?" I was like, "Oh, delete." It also this message also had another spoiler, which I'm not going to say because it's a spoiler.
Big spoiler.
And I was just like, delete.
You can't send those on Tumblr. I might see them.
Yeah, so Jay gets everything on Tumblr. So if you want to submit spoils, please, with the will, and then put it under a spoil tag or send it on Gmail.
I never look at that.
Yeah, because I check Gmail. I get them sent to my phone. Be careful with spoilers. Jay's new to this, and I'm obviously most of the time, not saying something because I don't want to spoil Jay.
But also, it's just Frontier, so really, who cares?
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, no, you're not.
Is it? Is it alright?
Bokomon and Neemon
What's the average score I've given this season? Is it 5 or is it 4?
I think it might be 5 or 6, right?
I think at best it's 5.5.
Okay, yeah. It's fair. It's passing grade.
No, it's really not.
What was the major difference that you noticed?
Well, it has to be they took out the Digimon part.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Prophecy's pretty bad, but
the fact that he says prophecy 20 times as opposed to 0, that's annoying.
But it's removing a whole scene.
There was no prophecy.
Also, removing a whole scene that explains why the original scene was there at all.
Yeah. Also, they had to pad out evolution because they had too much time now.
Yeah, but that's not a big difference. That's common. That's almost like saying the biggest difference was that this one was in English.
Oh, and that you're right. That is
the biggest difference by a long way.
The biggest difference is they were speaking a different language and they were different voice actors.
Whoa.
Well, mind blown.
How much money did they have to spend to make this difference? It's way different to cut stuff out.
So different.
Different script too.
Next episode is called Episode 14. Well, it's not called that. It's called...
Why was that so funny?
Because it's very late at night.
Oh, it's better writing than most of Digimon.
Except for Bokomon and Neemon. No one can write better than them. They're the best. It's called No Waymon or Rock Breaking Thunder, which... Trying to work out what that actually means, and I'm failing. So it's called...
It's thunder that breaks rocks.
Rock Breaking Thunder. Rock Breaking Thunder, Bokomon's Do or Die challenge. I have no idea what the challenge is.
His challenge is to fight.
I didn't know what it was before the episode. Didn't know what it was after. I guess it's finding Izumi's spirit. I don't know, but it's not really I guess do or die, like, oh, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna die, I guess. I don't know. It sounds good. It sounds exciting. The episode's not particularly exciting, but at least the title is exciting.
Okay, I want to just, before we even go into it, what is the breakdown of this episode? The kids run away, they're in a cave, and then they're caught and they fight and they leave. That's the whole episode.
It is the most filler plot ever. It's so filler, like, you could remove it and just say, oh, by the way, he fell over his beast spirit.
No.
I guess they get the spirit
You
back.
could remove it and just say they never got off the train. The tunnel just kept going to this island they're going to, and also the beast spirit was on the train.
And so was Izumi's spirit, and also Grottamon's dead now.
Well, no, but like Grotamon had this Izumi spirit.
Yeah,
So
Grottamon shows up on the train and they kill him, and then they also get the beast spirit of Junpei. It's very filler, but also very plot. Like, there's plot things that happen, but it feels filler. It's strange. Izumi's holding the egg, and Takuya and Koji see a fork in the path that the train's going down, and asks the Trailmon where he's going. And then he says that he'll find out when he goes there, which is quite a funny line. I like how these Trailmon either are very blunt or have all of the sass.
I hate all of them.
I know you do, but I like them.
Not nearly as good as Locomon.
Yeah. Gotta keep on moving, gotta keep on moving.
He was asleep.
Me too.
Me too, right now.
I'm really annoyed with what the dub does in this scene. So it cuts together several bits and replays them from the one scene just to make a joke work. So so the train's moving very quickly, and Koji's being sarcastic and asks, hey, could you go any faster? And then the Trailmon does. And then they cut around all these scenes from the same scene, and it's so annoying. And I don't know why they did it. It's not a funny joke.
My favourite bit of this entire episode is now, when, like, Bokomon basically goes, this egg's very important, grabs the egg, sticks it in his little belt.
This is my favourite part of the
then
episode.
He's keeping it warm, and everyone's, like, reaching out to try and touch it. He's like, no, whacking their hand away, this is mine now.
Yeah, and he says, well, you have to wash your hands before you touch the egg. And Bokomon's saying that he's going to be a good mama, and he says, I'm going to be a good mama, and he does in the dub too, and this is kind of cute. And Tomoki, in the original, says, wow, you look like a pregnant woman.
And he's like, what does that mean? I've never seen a human be pregnant before. In fact, what does pregnancy mean? We all come from eggs.
In the dub, Bokomon says that he has to raise it because he knows how eggs work, and he has life experience, instead of just saying how he knows how to raise it into being a kind and good child.
Something I really hate about Frontier is that no one ever seems to treat anything as if it's, like, really interesting and new. Everyone just takes everything in stride.
Yeah, everyone just sort of believes everything, yeah.
One of the coolest things about Adventure was where you kind of, Adventure was whatever it is. It's a straight line, and it's the line of mediocre. I mean, below which everything sucks and above which everything is pretty good.
Yeah.
But, like, you knew something was up when they're, like, parents, and the Digimon go, what are parents? Because they have no idea.
Well, yeah, what's Japan?
What's Japan? And you go, okay, that's interesting. When she says pregnant, a word that no Digimon would have ever used in their entire
Digimon
lives.
don't get pregnant.
Would Bokomon not be like, I have no idea what that is, can you please explain it? And then it's such a Japanese thing, and you cut to Izumi, and she's blushing, she's like, oh, I don't want to explain pregnancy, that's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be such a good thing. I don't know, yeah, you're right.
No, he's just like, yeah, alright, cool, I guess I look like one of those.
Yeah, and Bokomon seems to be quite an intelligent character who would question something they don't understand. They'd be like, what's a pregnant?
And I couldn't stand it. I mentioned in episode 1, but the kids have never been, like, impressed with the digital world at all.
They're so accepting, yeah.
They're like, that sure is a goblin. The only reactions they have are when they're in danger. And, like, that's a totally different thing.
Remember in the first 5 episodes of Digimon Venture, when they were just basically screaming and pointing at everything and saying, why are there telephone boxes? Why is there a trolley car? Oh my god, look at that giant bug. Why are there dinosaurs? What is that sea serpent? What? Why is that mountain on fire? What is that mountain? What are these ugly small pink things? It was basically just screaming about everything.
And you don't need to have it be about everything, but show us that the kids are on some kind of, like, that this is weird for them. Because what I really get the feeling from this series is that it's like there was a writing team for 02 and there was a writing team for Tamers, and they're different. And the writing team for Tamers did their thing and they finished and they went away, and then the writing team for 02 held up the script they had written in the meantime and said, how about this? Yeah? And then they begin their new thing, and in their minds, everyone knows what Digimon are already. They watch the show. We don't need to cover any of that. There'll be no new audience whatsoever who need to learn these things. It'll be super obvious to everyone, and of course we won't need the kids to think it's weird.
See, you've mentioned quite often that you like how in Pokemon they don't the same characters every season. They don't reset. They're always the same characters.
Yeah.
But in Digimon, it's always a new season, and they have new characters, new world. I feel like they should always use that opportunity to explain the world again, because maybe there's people who haven't seen the other seasons.
Well, I agree, and there's something to be said about, like, write every episode as if it's the first episode someone's watching, because that's a marketing thing where you flip around a TV, and if you watch an episode and you go, oh, this is good, because if it treats you like it's the first time you're watching, then you'll understand things as they go and then want to go back rather than be totally confused and not get it. But definitely when you're doing a new series, you should write it as though you've got new people watching, because you can get different hype. You can, especially when it has no connection. I think the best example, like the most recent example, because I was reading it today, I was reading the third book in a series. I'm reading the third Dresden Files book.
Yeah.
And to introduce people, the author goes out of his way to be like, yeah, you maybe if you're a long time reader, you know these people, so we'll introduce them in a clever way. But if you don't know, because you've picked this up for the first time, we'll have to introduce them to you.
Yeah.
So, like, the main character's kind of dating this reporter girl, and he gets a phone call, and he picks it up, and it's her, and he goes, oh, is it you, the reporter from that terrible newspaper? And he explains the whole thing as if he's making fun of her, so that the audience knows who she is, what she does.
That's clever. No, I like that.
And it all makes sense in storyline. But, like, if it was this, he would pick up the phone and immediately go, like, hi, and then they'd have a whole conversation, and you would have to pick up through implication all the stuff that's going on, because they never told you, and you can miss stuff.
Yeah.
You'd never know that the newspaper she works on deals with, like, magical things that are going on, like it's a rag tabloid. You wouldn't get that unless you made fun of her for it. No, but just assume everyone knows everything.
And I feel like that's a sort of when Frontier fails a bit, because it didn't draw anyone new in, because they didn't know anything about the show. And it drove away old people, because it was too, well, not old people, but like old fans, because it was too different to what they were used to. So at the same time, it was like, oh, look, we can be a new show. But anyone who gave the show a chance was like, they're not explaining anything. What's a Digimon? What is this world? Why are the kids handling it so well? Yeah,
imagine if we had started this and you didn't start me on adventure, you start me on Frontier.
You would have hated me. You would have said, we can't do this.
What is this? And, like, I think, especially after Tamers felt like, okay, we're going to do something new.
It was justified, though, that the Takaru knew what Digimon were.
Yeah, but I mean, from a contention of, we're going to make this thing, right? We're going to do something new, but we can market it in this way. This is what is interesting about it, and it's new, right? It is grittier, it is more realistic, it is a world in which Digimon is like a concept in pop culture, and that is interesting unto itself, and you can do a new interpretation of it that way. What has Frontier got from a marketing perspective? It's like adventure with kids you don't care about.
And more toys.
And more trains.
More toys, because they're evolving toys. You can evolve them with the spirits. And they came with the ugliest humans that evolved into the Digimon ever.
Because they have to fit the Digimon parts.
Yes, they were the... You know how I showed you the ugly Digimon evolving toys?
They're the worst.
Imagine if you tried to fit children underneath them, because they're just like these chubby little gremlins.
Hey, Junpei would be fine.
Pardon?
Junpei would look normal.
I don't think they even made a Junpei one.
Boo!
I don't think they made Tomoki or Izumi, but they made the other characters.
You mean the other two characters?
Yes.
Okay. Like, Frontier has fundamental problems.
Yeah.
I want to know, we should probably look it up one day, because I'm interested to know what, like, the initial ads were. If you've got a generation of kids, I don't know, that's obviously far too broad for the viewership of Digimon, but you've got a number of kids who were watching Tamers.
Yeah.
Or young adults at this stage even, who knows. And they're watching this, and even if they liked it, it finishes. Okay. What's the first new Digimon thing you see?
I think I showed you the first ever ad for Frontier, and it was very confusing.
I'm not sure.
It was like, it had all the flashing sort of like bits of Frontier, and then Takuya saying, "Did I do all that?" And then the JetX voice says, "Starting soon!"
Oh, I did see that. No, okay. I need to see a few then. Especially now that I kind of get it.
The only ones I can find is just that one.
Because it blows my mind that a company could look at this script thus far. And sure, I know some people really like this, and it must improve later. But, like, it blows my mind at this stage, the company can look at Frontier and look at what came before it and say, yeah, this will excite people. Trains is what people wanted. If you gave the viewership a survey, what priority did trains have?
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of a step down from Tamers, because Tamers was a step up from 02.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most certainly.
And while 02 was kind of a step down from Adventure, it was a step down, but it was a sequel and it had stuff going. You could market it. You remember that thing you liked? Here's the sequel. And you go, okay.
And they're doing that with Try.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that thing you liked? Here's the gritty version. Alright, cool. You know that thing you liked? It's not gritty anymore and there's trains in it now. And you're like, what? Okay. And you don't care about anyone and we're not going to do character development, really. Oh.
Also, there's a girl, though.
Also, there's no Digimon partners anymore. That is the only thing in this that's like your big sort of experimental step forward that I feel like someone pitched. And you go, no, the kids are the Digimon. And someone said, that's a great idea. And then the audience said no.
And then they were like, well, we're never doing that again. On to Season 5.
Good.
And then Season 5 was...
So next week, Season 5, right?
I still maintain that Season 5 is probably one of the best seasons.
I don't know. I struggle to think. This thing had a budget. It must have... Money existed.
Look,
this isn't Dogmon.
The digital world of Frontier is amazing, and the best part of Frontier.
But
we have gone a bit off topic from...
No, we haven't. It's still on Frontier.
Unfortunately.
Somebody put money into this, and I can't... Someone putting money into this strikes me as one of those things where, like, investors don't get stuff. Like the 90% of Nintendo investors who don't really get video games, they understand Nintendo makes money, and they understand that they put video games out, and putting video games out makes money. So, put the game out now. What are you doing? Put the game out now. That'll make you money. And Nintendo's like, no, we have a year of work left to make it good. No, put it out now. And they put it out, it flops, it doesn't do well. And everyone's like, what the hell, man? You meant to make us money. Well, you didn't let me. You made me put it out now. And that's what I feel with Frontier, is that investors were like, yeah, Digimon. Yeah, it made money that time. Whatever.
It sold the toys, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
I knew a lot of people who had the Detector toy, because the Detector toy was probably more fun than the actual show.
I just feel really down on this season.
I've noticed. But I feel like it's going to be the same way that, you know how 02 was so, like, negative, and then when we got to Tamers, it was great because we were so positive? I feel like this is going to have the same thing. It's like, up and down and up and down.
But I feel like, at least with 02, because I had lingering stuff from Adventure, I could really care. So when Blackwell Grandma was ruining everything, I could feel stuff about that. With Frontier, I don't feel angry when something, like, annoying happens. I feel like, not this again. And that's it. Like, Grotamon, I'm just like, oh, you, alright, cool, whatever. And then they definitely couldn't have made him, like, you know, beat them initially, and then they're about to beat him, then he finds his beast spirit, and he's like this escalating bad guy who follows with them the entire season, being super annoying. No, they'll just defeat him multiple times. Because great. Isn't it great?
Why not, right? So, back to the best character, Bokomon. In the dub, Bokomon has the best line in the dub. So, when the train's speeding up, he says, Mama's got you, Mama's got you, Mama's got you. I love this. I love that he's sort of breaking gender roles, even though Digimon
He doesn't have one.
I know Digimon don't necessarily have gender.
Well, in this universe they might.
But Bokomon is sort of masculine-y looking-ish, I guess.
He's got a dude voice.
But it's just kind of like, is flamboyant the right word? In a way, sort of? Look, Bokomon and Neemon are my favourite gay married couple of all time. I love them.
Really, of all time, there's none better than them. What about Jordan and Gable?
Oh yeah, okay.
Well, they're not married yet.
And my wrestling sons. Anyway, so Trailmon drops off the children in a cave, and the kids run for an exit, but it's just more cave. Izumi says that now that they have to find the exit soon, because the evil spirits will close in behind them. Junpei says that he doesn't plan to run anymore, and Izumi asks him why, and says, is this because you're just being stubborn? In the dub, JP says he's not scared of running anymore. And Zoe says, are you trying to impress me?
Yeah, like...
I feel like it has a different sort of feeling, like Izumi's just saying, oh, you're just being stubborn, as opposed to Zoe's sort of smugly saying, oh, you're just doing this to impress me.
Actually, no, my big change was the next part, when he's like, no, I'm serious, we should get your thing back, in Japanese, and in English he's like, well, it's your funeral, and he's like, can I change my... Like, he cowards out!
Yeah, he immediately says, look, hey, can I change my mind? Instead of just saying, oh, she's not like, impressed or anything, but I'm still gonna do it anyway. He's still being brave in the original, at least. So Arbamon and Grottomon are following where the children are, and Arbamon can tell which way the children are going because of the temperature of the water, which I think is a pretty cool mechanic. Because he's wood, and wood drinks water.
The water one should be able to figure that out.
Yeah,
Grottomon's there.
But she's off being sassy somewhere.
But also, doesn't Grottomon find them because he sees the train?
Oh yeah, and then they find the train on the next fork in the path.
And I thought Mercurymon finds Grottomon, and that's how they'll make it.
Yeah, but the most annoying thing is, in the dub, instead of him just saying, we'll go this way because, it's warmer, the temperature is different. In the dub, he says, time waits for no mon.
Time to die.
Because he's a mafia guy, I guess.
That's not a mafia saying.
He's got the accent though. He's got the,
that's not a mafia.
Oh, Jason. He's a doit bag.
Time waits for no more.
You know what?
Doesn't say
you
that.
went British then.
Yeah, well,
Your
all
accent's
gangsters
terrible.
are British.
So the weird thing is, why does Grottomon have Itmon's voice? I feel like Arbamon should have Itmon's voice.
Why?
Because he has that. He's got that voice. He's got the voice.
Nah, but if you're gonna be a Digimon Jar Jar Binks, you gotta have Itmon's voice.
Oh, that's terrible.
Misa Grottomon! Misa bashed you with a hammer!
Oh my gosh. We then see that Ranamon's using Mercurymon's reflection to look at herself, which is...
Yay!
Even though she's water and she could probably use herself as a reflection.
No, she couldn't. She's blue.
In the dub, instead of just looking at herself and checking herself out, she's trying to get Mercurymon's attention, which I think I kind of preferred her being kind of like vapid and like, oh, look at me, and vain. Yeah, vapid too. She's pretty vapid. Ranamon asks if Mercurymon intends to challenge Cherubimon, which I found quite interesting.
Odd.
But this is the original. In the dub, she asks him what he's going to do with Serapimon's data, and then she sort of wonders, you are intending on giving it to Cherubimon, right? And then Ranamon starts laughing at how hard Grottomon is working, just trying to find the kids to get his B-Spirit, and she's watching him in Mercurymon's mirror. Which, again, why don't they always use this to find out where the kids are? I have no idea. Wouldn't this be easier than beating up a bird?
Because it was in the scripto.
In the dub, she's laughing at how he's a bad warrior because he lost his B-Spirit to the kids.
That's fair enough.
Mercurymon asks if Ranamon will be happy once she obtains her own B-Spirit. In the dub, he says that she can't talk because that she hasn't found her B-Spirit yet.
They're both pretty cutting.
Then speaking of cutting, there is a bit that's cut. Ranamon says that the darkness doesn't exist, and Mercurymon says the darkness will come into existence. And then Ranamon says, well, when it does, it'll be mine. And yeah, this part's cut.
What does that mean? As in, like, because the spirits are of a particular element?
Oh yeah, I have no idea what it meant either, but I felt like it was pretty cool. She was like, yes, well, I'll make it mine when I get it.
I assume there's like, okay, well, this is the beast spirit of the earth. So that one is the beast spirit of darkness. But it's not like a real element?
No, the Duskmon's darkness.
Yeah, but he's a human spirit, not a beast spirit.
Yeah, and they all get their corresponding beast spirits.
They don't have to.
Oh, I thought they would.
Do you? Is Grottomon and Gigasmon are both Earth? I guess.
And then we see Petalgemon in this episode.
Stupid.
I think it might be in the way that's saying you have to control the darkness, which is your beast spirit, and how they're hard to control, maybe?
No, that's silly.
I don't know.
If the darkness comes into existence...
Also, then we see Duskmon, and he says your favourite line, which is, I don't know.
I want to die.
I think it's about I think it's a Mon joke again.
Oh, God, let me go look it up. I did write it down.
I was too annoyed that he was talking instead of not talking.
Is what fools these Mons can be.
Yeah, why are we...
It's no... Because this one's not a joke. This one is like... It's just using it as a plural.
Who honestly calls them Mons? Have we ever heard someone call them Mons?
They're not Digimon, like sheep. They are Mons. A singular Mon, plural Mons. Unbelievable.
The children are trying to find an exit, and then a water blasts Junpei and Tomoki. In the dub, when JP's saying, "Oh, Tom, are you okay?" he then calls out, "Hey, why did no one call out my name?"
They got, like, murdered by this water blast, by the way.
I feel like that would really hurt. Like, I've heard, those hoses that firemen use? Apparently those could kill someone. They could open up your skin.
Hold on, but, like, they got hit by... It wasn't direct. It was just, like, a splash.
Oh, yeah, it was a splash, yeah.
They got a little bit wet, and they're acting as they got beat up by a football team.
See, that's why I think it was meant to be the force of, like, a fireman's hose or something.
Okay, no. They had to show you where it came from then.
Yeah. Waimon rises up, and I feel lied to and betrayed at the moment, Jay.
Why?
Because the English title specifically said there'll be no Waimon.
We talked about this in Obnoxious Synopsis, I think.
Yeah, and there he is, being a liar. Bokomon says that Waimon shouldn't show up here, and only should be in the dark ocean, and is usually quite timid.
I swear at this point, Izumi goes, "Who's Waimon?" He's right there.
Yeah.
He's in front of her.
I can't see him. He's not like he's a large whale, that's quite large and taking up the most of the...
flopping around everywhere.
Takes up most of the space of the cave. Takuya and Koji evolve, and in the dub, because they cut out a scene, they have to make the evolutions longer, so they split them out. Arbamon and Grottomon come to another fork in the path, and Arbamon says they have to prepare for the right moment, and Grottomon asks what he's saying. In the dub, Arbamon says that they should follow the path of least resistance.
Which is in a tunnel everywhere.
Then they see a Trailmon who is making backing up noises, which is kind of cute in a way.
I know in English he's like, backing up, backing up, backing it up. Like he's doing a rap. I just wish he was going like with his mouth. He's like, beep, beep, beep. Like if he just did a really terrible like heavy machinery backing up, it's better.
I still find it cute what they did though.
Yeah, it's very English dub is how I describe it.
Well, in the English dub they change it a bit, but they still have backing up noises. Grottomon recognises him as the one that took the children, and then says the children are now trapped like rats.
Seriously, what are rats in this universe? Is there a Ratmon, or is he talking about real rats that he's never seen before?
He's talking about real rats he's never seen because he's all-knowing and all-everything.
I can't stand this writing where they forget what Digimon should and should not know.
Waimon explains that he wants to go back to the sea, but one day he was swimming in his sea and he found a strange light, which the dub calls it a strange plant, which I guess makes more sense that he would just eat it, but it does not look like a plant in any way, shape or form.
Because it was like in the seaweed at the time. I complained about this too later, but like just to give the other perspective, I think it's because it's in there, but if that's the case, he's a whale. Why is he eating plants?
I just think they're a little tiny bit lazy. But that's just me.
But they changed what it was.
So he ate it, and Grottomon absorbed some of the digicode on the beach, and it pulled Waimon into the cave.
By accident.
Kind of like a plug. Waimon starts crying, and Koji and Takuya say that crying doesn't help the situation. Junpei's in pain, and Azumi says they also want to get out, so they'll work together. And this calms him down. And I kind of like this, that Azumi's like... And they keep on turning this ability off that she has, but she is quite diplomatic, but only when the script allows her to be.
I'm still trying to work out what Grottomon wanted with this, like, 20 square meters of coastline.
He wanted some sand for his Warhammer figures.
Oh, God, what was he doing? And he got, like, it wasn't a very wide area, but apparently it was so deep the whale couldn't swim out of it. It's not like the ocean wouldn't just fill it up. It's the ocean. Did the ocean drain into this thing?
Okay, so I feel like what they did was they were like, well, we have to have a reason for Waimon to be in this cave, because we need him to carry the beast spirit there.
But he can't leave.
Yes. So we have to have it a way that ties into the plot. So let's just have one of the spirits that they're currently fighting be the one that sends him there.
In a flashback.
Yes.
Oh god, this is so stupid.
So more water drains, and Grodomon comes up from below, and then Grodomon uses more magic and summons many Golemon. So Agunimon and Wolfmon destroy a few, which is honestly amazing.
Well, can we...
Considering they were having trouble with just one a few episodes ago.
Okay, that was one of the three things I was going to say. I'll just start at the beginning. Grodomon was in a tunnel with the train lines.
Yep.
What happened that he got from there to below them? Did he break out of the tunnel, flooding the tunnel, and then underwater he digs into rock, and then he goes up? In fact, taking another step backwards, wasn't the castle they were in at the top of a tree?
Yes.
How did they get below sea level?
They actually dropped quite a bit.
But without talking about that, he had to somehow get below them in this tunnel. Unbelievable. Second, if he has this jar of golems on his neck, why doesn't he use that in the fight that he lost before? And you're right. How come it took the entire team to beat one Golemon before, and now they can beat 5 of them in a second?
Alright, I'm gonna suggest a reason why they did that. Okay, so what if, when you make one, he's really strong, but if you use the magic to make, 20, it's the same amount of strength as that one, but it's divided by 20. So they're basically paper, and that's why they basically dissolve just by one. You hit the air, and 4 of them knocked down. It's the same power, but it's spread out.
It's the inverse ninja law?
Yes.
That just makes sense, though, because they all have a different central thing, which is the black face thing. It's not like you're spreading the rocks out. They have a central thing, and then the rocks just build up of whatever's around. They'd all be equally powerful. And I won't accept that, the kids got way stronger, because they've had one fight since then.
Yeah.
We can just accept that A, it's the script, and B, it's really dumb.
No, yeah, it is pretty dumb. So speaking of the script being the script, so Agunimon, Wolfmon run to help Junpei, Tomoki, and Azumi, because Azumi can't evolve. Junpei is injured, and Tomoki isn't really that injured. He also got hurt, but they don't really address that's why. They just say that he's not evolving because he just can't evolve. He's just standing there, I guess.
So he got equally hurt by the wave.
But he's complaining less.
No, but what's important is A, he's complaining less, and B, they stopped animating the damage on him.
Yes, I noted the exact same thing in my notes. That, Junpei has all, the battle wounds, and he's got all the dirt all over his face.
Tomoki had them.
Oh no, Tomoki actually gets them back. Okay. It's really funny. Okay, we'll get to that when it happens, and I was impressed when it just sort of happened. So, Arbamon grabs Agunimon and Wolfmon.
Does he grab them, or is he tickling their faces with his fists?
Oh,
he's dance, dance. He defeats them with the power of dance.
I kind of like that.
It's really bad.
Neemon realizes that Bokomon's gone, and Bokomon calls him Bakamon and says that he has to protect the egg, and Neemon makes this face, and it's the best face in the world. I love them.
Because Bokomon's hiding behind a rock.
Yeah. And in the dub, Neemon goes, instead of just being silent, and I don't care. I love them both. I love both original and dub. Junpei wants to fight Tomoki, but says that he was hurt, fight with Tomoki, but he says that he's weaker because he's been hit, even though Tomoki has too. And Tomoki during the scene has no dirt on his face.
It's amazing. He got so much better.
Azumi wishes that she could evolve, and she looks like she has elf ears when she's looking at her detector. It's just something I noticed. Her ears are very pointy. In the dub, they edit in all these, high-pitched wailing noises when she's looking at the detector.
Because it can detect Junpei's spirit being nearby.
Yeah.
What?
I guess. Which also, why didn't any of the detectors...
No, because, Generator Wall is just as thick as a whale's face.
Or just being in a building that you're standing in.
Or just being over there.
Yeah. It's sort of not in the direction you're looking, so I guess it doesn't count.
That's how that works.
It's so annoying.
Radar only works if you're looking right at it.
So, Grodomon says that the Golemon will wear them out, so that's quite a... the Golemon and Arbamon are going to wear them out, so he's going to get his spirit back. And that's quite tactful, so I'm fine with that. Then Junpei walks forward and tells Tomoki, who is, an 8-year-old child, to look after Izumi, who is, 11 or 12.
Okay, but, to be fair, in the comparison, Tomoki is an 8-year-old child who has a gun.
Also, Tomoki's dirt comes back on his face in this scene.
Yeah. But, if they all have guns, except Izumi, Tomoki's an 8-year-old child, yes, but he's the 8-year-old child with a gun. He actually can do some protecting.
I know, but I feel like
he literally has a gun.
He doesn't. But he also doesn't really say, "Oh, evolve to protect her." He just sort of says, "Stay here and protect her."
It's implied.
Yeah, and then he decides to just evolve anyway and just hang out with Junpei, I guess.
Yay!
Bokomon says that Junpei is being rash, and he's not actually. And Grodomon's telling Junpei to evolve and fight, because apparently you can only get their spirit if they're evolved at the time, so
That's not true.
Well, that's what Grodomon says.
Did he say it?
Yeah, he says Grodomon's telling Junpei to evolve so he can steal his spirit, because you can't steal your spirit unless you're evolved.
I bet you can. I bet if he killed Junpei, he could probably scan the Digivice.
I bet if he just stole the Digivice, he could probably have his spirit, right?
That's okay. The biggest crutch Digimon always has is the bad guys are really dumb.
Tomoki says that he's going to fight too, because, who cares about Izumi?
Nobody.
Then they go to evolve, and now neither of them are dirty.
What's the evolution animation?
No, just before the evolution.
Oh, okay.
The animation. So Blitzmon told Chakmon to look after Izumi, so that's
Just
that's
go
fine.
back over it again.
He's saying, "All right, we're not fighting. All right, you go back."
And then Chakmon's fighting Golemon.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, I guess. So the script can't decide whether they want Chakmon to protect Izumi or to not protect. They keep on jumping around. It's kind of weird.
This is what I'm talking about. The animation existed before the script does. Yeah. And the script is written, and they're like, but he needs to protect her. That makes so much sense. But he's fighting right there!
And then something really annoying happens. Grodomon defeats Blitzmon.
Immediately.
So he de-evolves.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the fuzzy, oh no, my spirit's going to be stolen. He just de-evolves.
So what I'm picking up from this is you can't, if you just win,
Yep.
if you win too good, the kids just de-evolve and you can't get the spirits.
Yep.
So you have to beat them just enough. You gotta find the place where you would kill them and back it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just back it up.
Arbamon slide evolves to Pedaljamon, and...
Let's go of Agnemon and Lobomon.
Yes.
Let's go.
Because he doesn't have the stretchy hands anymore. And after, many, many years of knowing Petaljamon's design, I still don't know if I'd like it or not.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It looks like a Pokemon, honestly.
Yeah, because it's a dragon, but it's also a flower. It is an axolotl. I like it.
Here's the thing.
But I can never, because it's kind of, weird looking. Yeah, I think I like it.
The thing is, Agnemon and Lobomon's spirits code are both showing.
Yeah.
And he's just staring at them for 5 minutes. Scan them! What's he doing?
Yeah, I feel like the scanning thing is very plot related.
Weren't Mercurymon and Ranamon there?
No, they were chilling. She was just looking at her reflection, remember?
Okay, so they weren't around for that, right?
Yes,
okay.
Because if there were all the evil spirits there, the kids would die.
But they already did die!
Because we're trying not to make the kids look weak or them look too strong.
Arbamon beat them both by himself without evolving.
Yeah. He actually did more damage as a human spirit before he evolved. So Whammon blasts water at Grodomon, and because of plot convenience, the bee spirit comes out too.
It just kills him.
In the dub, Whammon comments about how it tasted too gamey to be a plant.
That makes no sense. Plants can't be gamey in the first place.
We find out it's Junpei's spirit, and Grodomon jumps towards it, but Junpei absorbs it, and Grodomon face plants, which is funny. Junpei's beast spirit evolves to Borkmon, or Metal Carboterimon. It looks nothing like a Carboterimon. It doesn't have wings.
It's a bug. I can see it. But when I was watching the
tank.
Japanese,
yeah,
that's a bug. It's a tank bug. I was like, you have the easiest shot at Arsenal Carboterimon, and I would accept it.
Kids don't know what Arsenal means.
Yes, they do. Especially the ones who like soccer.
And the ones who like Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, up your arsenal. That's a joke that they get.
That's such a good title for a game.
Right up there. Right up your arsenal.
I feel like that was the PAL-only title, though, of that game.
I thought that was just the name of the first game. Anyway.
No, it was the subtitle for one of the games, and it was a PAL-only one because it was too naughty for North America.
So yeah, and God, Junpei, when he's evolving, looks like he's dying. He looks upset. And Bokomon, instead of just saying, how Junpei got his spirit, he recognizes the beast spirit. Oh, on. I'm trying to remember what this...
Okay, so in the dub, I'm quite upset by this part, and I guess you are too, obviously, but you don't quite remember it. So Bokomon says, "Oh, it's the legendary beast spirit of thunder." How does he know this? He just found out Beast Spirit existed like 3 episodes ago.
But he read the book in the meantime.
But we don't know if there's any other pages of the book that said the Beast Spirit, or if it was just that page.
But there are 10 spirits. How did he not know about them?
I feel like he didn't know.
Maybe there were foldouts in that book he didn't know about. Maybe he found more.
So Bulgmon's out of control, and he launches lightning everywhere, which causes the cave to cave in slightly, and only around Petaldragon, so it's beneficial.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Aren't there 20 legendary warriors?
Are there 10?
Are they 10 human, 10 beast? Is that not 20?
Oh, I'm not sure how much I can say. Okay, so in the opening, bit before fire starts, we get sort of like the vague idea of like the plot, and it's like, okay, here is the Earth. Yeah. It's a pretty sweet Earth, you might say. Round.
Yeah.
Okay, it's surrounded by 10 things.
Yeah.
Those are the ancient legendary warriors.
Yeah.
Which attacked Lucimon.
Okay.
The human and beast spirits are just sort of like they're human and beast forms, but they're all related to the 10 warriors.
Okay, so one warrior is has human and beast, so it's just like the way they have.
Yeah,
them
it's basically to say, look, human and beasts shouldn't fight, so because we are one.
But this is nonsense. Why human and beasts aren't equal? Beasts are one level higher than humans.
You know my Twitter handle, don't you?
No.
Okay, my Twitter handle is actually one of the ancient warriors.
Airdramon?
That's not my Twitter handle, Jay. My Twitter handle is Ancient Irismon.
Oh, I don't care.
I care.
But, like, it's really confusing. If they're positing that the beasts and the humans were equal and were fighting each other, why are beast spirits one level higher than all the human spirits?
Because they had to make them level up in some way.
Yeah, I know, but they could have done it better.
But why would they want to lie to the script like that? The script said, hey, we need you to level up. How are we going to make you level up? Human and beast, they're different, but they're also the same.
These are our plot points. Make it work. Yes, I know, but I'm doing a jigsaw puzzle and you handed me a brick. I know. Make it work. Okay. And you whack your half-finished puzzle with the brick until it fits. It never does.
Bokomon calls Grodomon worthless and calls him a bad word, which we can't say because it's a clean podcast.
Almost certainly this is Borgmon. Like, I know it's not meant to be an L at all. Like, it's a cyborg.
Yeah, it's Borg. It's Borgmon. I just like saying Bolgmon.
I don't. It's like Bulgemon. Oh, whoa. What's this?
So I really like how Junpei's quite, like, not particularly, like, as outspoken, but Borgmon is basically swearing at him.
I think that might have been the subtitle we had.
No, I'm pretty sure he says kuso.
That's damn.
It's usually also translated to poo-poo.
Because Grodomon also does that this episode, and he just swears out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, it's kuso, which I think it's usually it's translated as both. It's like, see, I've just put up on things, so it's poop, it's damn, it's very extremely, and
very
it's a lot.
extremely damn.
It's
okay.
also rats. So basically, if you want your generic swear, it's kuso. Taichi says kuso in our war game.
Weird.
Because yeah, it's a swear word. You don't want to say kuso. It's very rude.
They say it multiple times. It's great.
Yeah.
What? You'll never understand the true meaning of friendship.
Yeah, that's what he says in the dub.
That's the worst line in the world.
Yeah, considering he's swearing in the original, he's saying you are a worthless pile of poo.
You should die.
And you deserve to die. And it's just saying, you will never be my friend. You do not understand the true meaning of friendship.
Have you ever been about to stab someone in the chest with a dagger and been like, you'll never understand the true meaning of friendship?
Oh, all the time. Every Sunday.
That's what's happening. You can't threaten to kill someone and then tell them what they're going to miss out on. That's not cool.
So Borgmon launches a big attack at him, and Slide evolves to Blitzmon to scan the digicode, and he gets his spirits back, which is really annoying. Why couldn't Gunimon scan his fractal code, right?
Actually, more importantly, I freaked out because he grabs the Grodomon one. He does not grab the Fairymon one. It happens to float towards Izumi on its own.
Tomoki didn't.
There's no way in hell... I can say that.
Yeah,
there's no way in hell that Blitzmon knew that was going to happen. So he grabs Grodomon's and then that's it.
It's because
he wasn't going to get it.
He also scans the fractal code, which I think that's just how that worked, which really honestly begs the question, why didn't Agunimon scan the fractal code? He just went to grab the spirits.
I think the spirits might be shields that stop you from doing that. But more importantly, if he didn't take the Fairymon one and it didn't float off, would Grodomon have become a Fairymon?
I like to think so.
Yeah, me too. I think that would have been really funny.
Oh, that would be
if
fun.
her spirit's like now the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of erase bad guys and like move them. Like all of the Digimon are now whiteboards with drawings on them, and you can replace those drawings. The whiteboard's the same thing, but there's a different face to it.
We then see the egg float away, and I just came up with an interesting idea.
Where did it float to?
It just, their version of Primary Village, I guess. I don't know.
Why wouldn't anyone grab it?
Not sure if it said. See, that's what I was about to say. What if, and this is a way you could improve Frontier, is as they defeat the evil spirits and purify them, they then grab their egg, and that is their partner Digimon.
I don't need it to be that. I just need that for Grodomon, because Grodomon's like the first bad guy.
Yeah.
And what I need it to be is Neemon grabs it, sticks it in his pants, and goes, I'm a mama too.
Yeah, oh my gosh, why didn't that happen? And he's so proud of himself, and he's like, I am mum now! And it's like sticking, he's kind of like falling out of his pants a bit, because it's pants and not a belt, and it doesn't quite fit, and it's kind of stretching the pants. He's like, I am mum!
And what I want it to be is, he's really bad at it. He's constantly like moving it out and dropping it places. And Bokomon, who's like really taking care of this, is freaking out like, you can't do that to the egg! But nothing bad ever happens to it.
Yeah, and then, if it would get born, it was like little baby Grodomon, and Nemon saying, look at my little angel.
And he's shaking a spiked rattle like, I'll murder you in your sleep.
And he's like, he's hitting Nemon in the face like, Daw, isn't he cute?
I don't know what babies do.
And, then there's Bokomon with the literal angel. And Godemon's like, Misa have rattle! Misa kill you, mom!
We just wrote a better show than all of Frontier.
I feel like they should have been the partner Digimon. I feel like, imagine if they just gradually got their partner Digimon and they were the ones they fought.
And that's how you get an upgrade, is that, okay, you hit the top level, but you also have a second guy fighting with you.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
It would have. Randomon fits Izumi quite well.
I really like how the main character didn't defeat the first, big bad guy, though, right? That's not terrible.
Yeah, a whale did it. A random whale.
So then Azumi thanks Junpei, and there's this kind of, romantic moment between them.
No, there isn't.
In a way
Let's
there
say
is.
there's not.
The cave continues to cave in, which I'm glad they didn't forget about, and then it starts a flood, which is convenient for the Waymon, because they survive and they go inside his mouth. In the dub, they think that they've died. Then Waymon thanks them, and now they're going towards an island, and the episode ends.
How can he possibly leave? Where's this water coming from?
It's caving in and it's above them, I think.
But it had to be empty above them, otherwise Waymon would have left already. Where's the water coming from? Is it the ocean? It would have washed in initially.
What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
It's bad! I was talking about it right at the beginning. It's just a big waste of time.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, cute moments, Bokomon and Neemon, definitely.
Yeah.
Always. Those faces that Bokomon makes when he's saying, I will be a good mama.
I'm just saying there's 5 minutes of content in this episode.
And it's all Bokomon and Neemon.
No, and there's finding the beast spirit and stuff, and even beating Grodomon, but none of that stuff needed to happen now.
Yeah.
That stuff needed to happen in the Crystal Castle.
Yeah, it could have happened, this all could have happened in the same location in the Crystal Castle in the last episode, and it would have been fun. I mean, they would have had
It would have been better!
They would have had to cut out the good bits of the episode, which were the filler bits, but then, it would have been an episode
Use
at least.
them later.
What would you rate this episode?
I don't know,
I gave it a 6. Or a 6.5.
Is it even a 5?
I thought it was okay.
Oh, God. I don't know. 4.5. Go away.
I give it a 6 for Bokomon being a mama.
Oh, yeah. That's 3 of the points I gave it.
Oh, wow. How did this episode compare to your predictions in Obnoxious Synopsis?
It was bad. Let's see. I said there'd be a Waymon, despite the assurances of the English title. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Borgmon is Junpei's evolution. It looks just enough like a bug to call it something Kabuterimon. Called it exactly. No, that's the easiest thing in the world. And Borgmon, well, it annoyed you how little look like Kabuterimon. I think it looked enough like a bug that I was immediately like, okay, I can see it.
But I feel like Metal Kabuterimon isn't a close enough name. I feel like Tank Kabuterimon would have been
I think
better.
Arsenal Kabuterimon was the way, because it's got a big gun on its face.
Yeah. And yeah, you said it wouldn't be a good episode. And yeah, you're kind of right. What do you think about the prophecy that the dub is like viciously trying to shove down our throats?
I don't care. I kind of forgot it existed.
That's because it wasn't a prophecy in the original, which is kind of like a thing. As you said, it's an educated guess. What do you think of Junpei destroying the first major bad guy and returning Izumi's spirit? It wasn't the gold kid. I feel like this is a big step.
It's not a big deal. Like, because it's not really... Brodemon's been phased out by the rest of them. He's clearly the worst of the lot of them. So he's not, like, the bad guy, right? This is, like, Junpei's glory moment that I'm not even sure he'll ever beat.
For Screenshot of the Week this week, I chose, like, there were so many great screenshots this week. There was all of the adorable Bokomon, faces, and there was Neemon doing this, like, side smile that he had. And, like, glaring off to the corners. I thought that was great. But I actually decided to choose a screenshot. No, it's the screenshot of, which I can't find at the moment. And I want to show you, because I might have sent it to you. So it's when the spirits are standing, and they're all standing, Arbamon, Grodomon, and Ranamon. And Ranamon's anatomy makes no sense. It appears that her mammaries are also pointing towards Arbamon.
They're magnetic.
And her hips apparently do lie with physics. And her thighs are kind of like making oval shapes.
No, she's a seahorse. That's what she looks like.
So, but I'm pretty sure I've also seen her anatomy make like...
No, she's a seahorse.
But then there's this one, and her anatomy's... I mean, her arms are thin, but so is Izumi's.
She looks exactly like Peridot there.
She does a bit. I was trying to think about who she reminded me of, but no, she does remind me of Peridot. But that was my screenshot of the week. And I was very upset by Ranamon's anatomy because it seems like they just didn't care. They just said, this is vaguely like what she stands, whatever.
Well, one of the things about this season is they have a lot less experience drawing women than usual.
Yes.
Mine was when Metal Kabuterimon is doing his, like, he's swearing and be like, you should die! Because... I would like the subtitles. The subtitles are really funny.
Yeah. And that's fair.
It actually kind of looks like it's from a different show. Because it looks really serious.
Yeah, it does look pretty serious. And he's, like, glowing and he's all angry. No, I like that. What about the Digimon that were introduced this episode? We have Serafimon.
I don't care.
Who we've seen before.
We've seen doesn't count.
Sorcerymon.
It's Ice Wizardmon.
Bolgmon or Borgmon.
I don't remember. Like, I didn't pay a lot of attention to it.
Because I like him.
It is good. I can tell it's good.
Yeah, I like him.
And Petaldragon. I love it. I really like Petaldragon.
I think I've decided I like Petaldragon, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe. I think I'm going to say for now. So let's go through to Postmon Pat now, which we have to kind of speed through because I'm running low on battery and we also have to read the fanfic.
Woo!
Hey!
Technically, we can do that tomorrow.
No, we're doing it today because I start editing it today. I always start editing it the night before, you know that. So, first of all, for our poll, we have a winner because they're weekly polls. So,
was it the script?
So, I'll go from last to best. So, in last place, Tomoki with 4 votes. In second last, Junpei with 6 votes. Third last, the script. Second is Koji, 17 votes. Takuya wins with 20 votes.
I mean...
And we have a few comments. So first of all, Ali says it should be Tommy because he could learn how the team works and what teamwork is, and it could be like what it could be like to have less. Riku says that they voted for Takuya because, in their mind, he would be rather conflicted about having to use an unpredictable beast spirit, needing to have a short arc about that before actually coming to terms with his beast spirit to win back his human spirit from Grodomon. Then we have Chakmon, who says that they voted for Koji because they like the idea of forcing him to rely on others to help and not being such a lone wolf. Plus, Dub Koji could stand down a few pegs, and a weak Koji makes for a better Takuya Koji ship. That's cute. On to our other letters. On Gmail, we have a letter from Kyleone, who says they're caught up with all our episodes now.
Yeah!
Yay! And says how instead of usual partners in Frontier, we get Bokomon and Neemon, the best characters in the season. Dub gets their characters wrong. In the original and in the German version, they're non-combatants that provide useful information, like when Bokomon suggests they eat to calm down instead of just fighting. And Kyleone did not think that Jay would like them, so was surprised.
Everyone seems to be, but they're the best part of this series.
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm surprised I like them. So Kyleone then says the Serafimon episode was mind-blowing. To introduce a godlike character and then kill him off.
But, like, I don't know. It's weird because Serafimon's a guy we knew. We knew him from like this other movie and stuff. So it's weird. He's not like Wu Qinglong. No, wait. It's not like Qinglongmon, who like, okay, if he got blown out of the sky, like, whoa, that would be a big thing, because that's actually a god. This is like, oh yeah, a powerful guy. But the show didn't do anything to stress how powerful he was. He looks like a chump, honestly.
Kylo then says the dub changed the evil spirit character so much. They were already unique with quirks, and then they were changed completely to get completely different gimmicks.
They became wrestling gimmicks.
Sort of, yeah. Kylo then says that there's a bit of German dub trivia for us, which I always love hearing, because I only have experience with the original and the English version. So, Seraphimon in the German dub is referred to as female, and so is Cherubimon. So all three of the holy angels are female. And Kylo says that while it doesn't make like too much sense, it's nice that and it cranks up the female character number.
From very few to some.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And then Kylo says the English dub changes are more major and less justified than the changes in the German dub.
Definitely less justified.
Yeah. On Facebook, Quad says that Golemon was used to tire out the kids before Grodomon attacks so he could steal their spirits.
As in now or before?
Before, but Grodomon does specifically say it in this episode as well.
Yeah, but it's way stupider this time.
He's like, I'm just going to make 20 of them that they can, bowl over really easily.
Yeah, he makes 20 more, but for them, it's more than 20 times easier.
Our next letter is on Reddit from Dak and Jackster, who says Zoe losing her spirit could have been a cool moment of sacrifice, but it's sullied by her constant failure, as May said. Then says that Fecksmith's idea on Koji losing his spirit and having to control his beast spirit sounds perfect.
I like that.
And it could also be the same sort of thing with Takuya, but I can see it working with Koji as well.
Especially if they want a subplot of like balance between the two.
Yeah. Dak and Jackson then says, do you think it would have been interesting if after attaining Burning Greymon, if Takuya lent a Gunimon to Zoe?
No.
I thought that would have been cool.
It would have been good to set a precedent of that they're all mix and matchable.
And this is what I was referring to earlier. I feel like just so she could be in the fighting action, just so she could have a human spirit to fight too, I feel like why can't they? But if you can get other Digimon spirits, I feel like you should be able to use them.
You can't sell toys if the kids don't have real identities.
On With the Will, we have a comment from Takeshi55, who says, regarding the we only need to believe thing in Tamers, there were reasons for that. First of all, Tamer starts with Monster of the Week, and by around episode 20, the writers ran out of ideas for card strategies since the plot picks up much more by then. Then says that the D-Arcs can't evolve Digimon on their own, and they need outside influence, be it cards or belief. The next point is card strategies may not even have worked in the digital world because we never really see it work much.
Well, but you can't say they ran out of ideas for card strategies, but also maybe they wouldn't have worked. If they had ideas for them, they would have worked, and they were entertaining, so they should have come up with more ideas.
See, I always found the card strategies very entertaining and to be the best parts, and I was always saddened that they didn't really keep up with it as much as they started off with.
Give me a list of every Digimon card, and I'll find you 50 episodes worth of strategies.
Can I get you to do that?
I'm not going to come up with 50, but I can come up with 10.
Can that be a new Patreon reward, please? You every month, if you give us a certain amount, they pick 3 cards and you'll write a short thing. Can that be a new reward, please? 'Cause that's a quick thing.
It is something I can do if people want it. Send in letters requesting if that's a thing you want me to do.
If that's a thing that you guys would like, we can totally make that happen. I can help too.
Part of the writing reward is if people want me to rewrite things to make them better, I can do that.
But this can be a cheaper one because it'd be shorter than a short story. This can be I
guess that sounds like work I have to do.
Yeah, no, it sounds fun though. Then Takeshi says, "Can you guys only talk about Try and Atmon spoilers in their respective episodes?" And I guess we should start doing it, except for Postmon Pat, but I'll always say...
We probably won't. We probably won't be able to restrict it, but we should flag it more when we feel we're about to.
Yeah, because we just jump into, isn't Atmon great? And we do that quite often.
It's really great.
Yeah, and we should probably stop doing that because it's so new, but we just get so excited because Atmon is good.
I also don't think we should restrict it because I would like people to go, and when we talk about Atmon, if people haven't jumped on Atmon episodes yet, they should.
Because we have had a few people say, look, I wasn't going to give Atmon a try, but you guys were talking about try. They were talking about in the main show about how we liked it, and even Jay liked it. So then that's why they started listening to our Apply episodes, but they weren't going to anyway. So I feel like we should still always say that we like it, and we'll do Postmon Pat in our main show, and that means we'll talk about Atmon there, but we'll always signpost if we're about to talk about Atmon in Postmon Pat. Because, we don't have Postmon Pat in the Atmon bit. Our next message is from Ifidri, who says, Frontier gets better, Jay, and then it doesn't.
What? Okay.
The next comment is from Jay Ukyo, who says, Frontier has already peaked.
Oh no. Oh no.
The next comment is from Chakmon, and they say the funniest scene was when Sepikmon hit Takuya. Can't believe it was removed in the dub. Then says that another funny scene was when Shamon told Takuya and Tomoki about their misfortune, and their reactions are both drawn pretty well. So they're both like going, wah, wah. Chakmon then says it's likeable how in episode 11, about the randomness of the village and all the Digimon that are in the background, like Dogimon. And
Dogimon's strong.
I don't think we spoke about it much, but the background of the town episodes are always very good with all the Digimon you see.
Why don't we get more of them in this digital world? They're always sort of like wandering through it, like as if they're in a bubble. Like they're not really interacting with it. Mm-hmm. In the Fortune Teller one, obviously they did a little bit more, but it was a couple shopkeepers and these little canned bits.
Then Chakmon says that they always loved Frontier for its cartoonish elements, but after watching alongside May and Jay with their analysis, it's appearing more sloppy and lazy. Still love the settings, animation, gags, characters, music, and standalone settings, but the writing is a bit sloppy.
What I'm getting from that is that you like all of the ingredients of this meal, but then the chef dumped them all in a bucket and handed
put a
it
sock
to
on
you.
top.
No, they dumped it all in a
I'm
bucket, and
referencing
you're like, I like everything in here, but could you not have tried harder?
Chakmon then says that they love the Atmon holiday specials, hoping there's a White Day one. So,
what is that?
Okay, White Day is like Valentine's Day, but instead of the girls giving the guys the chocolate, the guys give the girls the chocolate.
When is it?
It's a month after, so it's March 14th.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
We should celebrate it so you can give me chocolate. Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
It's a Japanese holiday. Next comment is from Wildwing64. And they say they don't mind Burning Greymon as a dub name.
I do.
And then says that these episodes were okay, even if other characters were blatantly written out of action. Wildwing64 then says that it's frustrating that Izumi doesn't get her spirit back when Agunimon beats Grodomon, and they're also really enjoying Atmon so far.
Yay.
The next comment is from Faxmith, who says that they're still not a big fan of Atmon, but episode 19 was good.
You'll warm to it, I'm sure.
Hopefully. I think Atmon's good. Fexmove then says that they just finished playing Digital Card Battle and they're impressed with the quality of such an overlooked game.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a PlayStation 1 game. I have it. I haven't played much of it though, admittedly. Fexmove then says that they haven't seen the episode where Azumi gets her spirit back yet and is watching along blind with the podcast. But there's such a difference in what Tomoki and Izumi did spiritless. Izumi almost drove the team apart and made them fight and decided to go with the vote of ignoring the situation. Meanwhile, Tomoki spent one episode spiritless and displayed overwhelming bravery during that part.
I guess it's really weird because Junpei is the one who's the first person to lose their spirit. Their character should be like, we have to go find it, I need this thing,
yeah.
I'm useless otherwise. Junpei did that. Junpei was like, we need to find your spirit. This is very important, obviously, but he was thirsty. She's like, no, I don't want to be a bother. No, let's not do that.
I would have been much stronger, let's get my spirit so I can be whole again because this is part of me.
She's really boring.
Fexmith then says that they're surprised that nobody mentioned how Tomoki relayed Takuya's speech back to him in the original. I definitely did in my notes, but maybe I forgot to in a recording, but I also noticed that, and I thought it was quite a nice moment in the original. The dub, even though he says the same things, the original episode, the Chuckmon's Nightmare episode, that didn't have that line in, so it was kind of removed. But I thought it was a nice touch. On Tumblr, Kyle Alone says that it would be great if Takuya had his spirit taken, as it would have made it even more important for him to master his beast spirit.
Kyle's got a 2 in today.
Yeah. Well, I think this one might be from last week, but we'd already recorded the episode by that point. So facing and defeating Gigasmon and getting his spirit back would have been great to end his mini arc because he would have been doing it human spiritless and he would have had to been forced to master his beast. Kylan then says that maybe Takuya not being naked is showing how disconnected with Virtuemon he was. And that makes sense. Next on Tumblr we have Anonymon, who really liked when Serafimon told the kids to go home and that he would handle things. And as a kid, Anonymon thought that it was TK's Serafimon, so was saddened when he died. That's sweet. I can see someone thinking that.
That's such a problem with all of the new versions, is there's all these things that are exactly the same.
I had that with Tamers when I was a kid.
Why is there overlap in some places but not in others?
Anonymon then says that Sorcerymon was a nice callback to Wizardmon.
Was it a callback? If they were standing next to each other, would they say, we just look the same?
Yeah. and it'd be an Atmon thing. Oh, here I go again, sorry. And the next message is from IRL Yuya, who says that they haven't listened to episode 90 yet, but guesses that Jay thinks that Zoe has Bergermon, Tommy has Ikakumon, and JP is Kabuterimon.
Have I even been made to guess that stuff?
I think you've mentioned previously that you think that's how it's going to go.
Hold on. What are my other options? No, Zoe would have, like, Lilymon, because she's a fairy.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
She would have, like... But that would be really weird, right? If she had, like, Fire Lilymon.
Yeah.
Or Wind Lilymon. And Tomoki he's an ice guy. Ikakumon's the closest, but I don't think he'd be that. Oh, it could be. It could be like Abominable Ikakumon, like he's standing up. It's rough. It's rough.
Rough. Our last Anonymon is saying something about Atmon, so if you don't want to hear about Atmon, you should skip to the next segment, because this is the last Postmon Pat. So, and this Anonymon says, the only nitpick with Atmon is that the buddy relationship, especially the secondary ones, don't have the same partner feeling as opposed to other seasons. And I agree with that, but I still like it, especially Gachmon and Haru.
Gachmon does. Gachmon's great.
And Dokomon and Eri. How Dokomon loves Eri. And Astro. Let's love Musimon and Astro so much
They
now.
don't feel very complex.
Yeah.
They feel legitimate, but not very, not very deep. Alright, everybody, join us for the next episode of Fooly Cooly, Beastie Girl.
Or Cool Beast Evolution, Kalmaramon.
You mean Kamaramon?
Kyamaramon Janai. We're talking about Atmon again. Damn it!
Kamaramon. And the Swiss Family Digimon.
Or Strength Does Not Matter, The Beautiful Warrior, Shutumon.
I get both of these English jokes already, and they're both terrible.
For Weekly Wonders this week, I'm going to recommend a book that I just bought. It's called Shirakuma Cafe, and is a manga, and it translates to Polar Bear Cafe, or
Sounds cute.
White Bear Cafe. So this is one of the highest recommended manga to read if you are learning Japanese, because it's got quite simple words and kanji that they use. It's very easy to read, it's very cute, it's very fun, and it doesn't have too much plot. Like, I'm also reading Dragon Ball to further my Japanese, but it's very hard because you just get all this exposition dumped on you and you're trying to work out what a Dragon Ball is, because I've never watched Dragon Ball before.
I couldn't believe you didn't know what a Dragon Ball was.
I knew that they were the balls of the dragons, I guess. And yeah, so that it is. I'm enjoying Dragon Ball.
Inaccurate statement.
But this one's a lot easier, and the names, the bear is called Shirokuma-kun, and then there's Panda-kun, and there's Gurizuri-san, and here's a grizzly bear.
That's cute.
And
I like the way that comes out in
and
Japanese.
They all they go to this cafe, and they're all really cute and they're all really adorable, and there's recipes for things you find in the cafe.
Is this no, that's an English show, isn't it? With the three bears?
No,
the Cartoon Network show?
No, it's not that. It's not that. I know what you're talking about, but it's not that.
Okay.
So I highly
Gurizuri.
you can buy it on CD Japan, you can probably buy it elsewhere. I highly recommend it. Apparently the anime is also really good if you're learning Japanese, because as I mentioned, it's not particularly involved and is quite easy Japanese. So I highly recommend this. If you're looking to read something to further your Japanese, do it now.
I watched Beyond the Boundary. It's really good.
Well, we watched Beyond
It's
the
about
Boundary.
spirit warriors fighting ghosts or something. It's adorable. It's a good show. You should watch that. I'm tired.
Yeah, so we watched Beyond the Boundary
Watched
on
the whole
Saturday.
season in one day.
We watched the entire season on Saturday, and we watched it in English, which was fine. Oh, yeah, it was good.
I don't think watching it in English was ideal, but it was good. And just, this show has ruined English dubs for me. Because any time someone said something, especially a joke, when the camera wasn't directly pointed at their mouth, I'm like, they added that in the dub. They added that in the dub.
But they probably didn't, because it's a grown-up show, and they don't usually do that. So stay tuned after the outro for Fanfic Reading Chapter 4. The link dump will be linked in the description, and you can find our screenshots of the week and our weekly wonders, which are also linked in the description and in our link dump. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at lostintranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @translationmon on Twitter, and you can find us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and you can tell that my eye stopped working because, I'm having trouble speaking. We'd appreciate if you were to review us on iTunes and on Stitcher, and we now have a website with a weekly poll that you should totally vote in, and that'll be linked in the description, because I would have set it up by the time this episode is live.
Oh, I gotta say things. Thank Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon, Stevie, who is also Stevie on YouTube, and you can find the link in the description, Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Chalkmon, Ishwal Bamba, Hiro Olato, who is at Hiro Olato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, you can find them there, Stephen Reeves, who is at WildWing64 on Twitter, tweet them now, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Red and Garen from Breakfast with Digimon, which is another Digimon podcast which you can listen to whenever you want. It's on SoundCloud. Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr. They deserve it. Go do that. Corey, Kyle, Delady Bugman, whose anime blog you can read on Bagu Baragu at wordpress.com, Small Wolfie, Lupin, and Tom.
You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which you can find linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon, and make sure to let us know it's for the podcast. And yeah, that's it for this week. Hopefully next week's better. On to the outro music and also the fanfic. Bye!
Bye!
たちが新しい風を起こそう無邪気なままで
Alright, where's
Why would you elbow me? I'm doing a bit.
I was with my fingers, it wasn't an elbow.
Oh, it felt like an elbow. It felt aggressive.
Okay, you've got...
How long is this one, by the way?
this one's slightly longer than the other.
Well, how long? Is it like that long?
No, it's not that long. It's that long.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Okay, let's do it.
That's only like 10 pages.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, Jesus. Chapter 4, Porioko City of Love. Oh, let me just start that again. Chapter 4, Porioko, City of Love.
Maisie, we're here!
I hate interrupting this, but no one who's reading it, someone who's listening can tell that you misspelled here.
Oh my god,
You didn't, like, listen here?
Yeah, Maisie, where...
Anyway.
Touches ear, here.
Okay, a voice said, "Awaking Maisie."
Huh?
She said,
We've arrived.
Submarimon said.
Oh.
Maisie said.
Where?
Maisie asked.
Poromon?
No, you said
where is Poromon?
Maisie asked.
Here, but I digivolved. I can't read my own writing. While you were Okay, here, but I digivolved while you were asleep.
A voice said, "It was Hawkmon."
So, we're in Poroyoko now?
Maisie asked.
Yep.
Submarimon answered.
Okay, thank you very much.
Maisie said as she began to get out.
You're welcome.
Submarimon said.
If you ever want a lift, come and find me. Okay.
Maisie said. The island was very big, and many Digimon were walking around. It wasn't as tropical as the other island, but that was because this island was larger, and it was also inhabited, unlike the smaller island.
So, shall we head to Poroyoko Town?
Maisie said, looking at Hawkmon and smiling.
Yes, we should. I can see part of the village from here.
Hawkmon said.
Ah, you can. It looks pretty? Pretty, yeah, that says pretty.
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 Maisie said. The feeling she was getting from this town was a happy one.
I feel happy for some reason.
She said.
Yeah, it's Poroyoko's vibe.
Hawkmon said.
I feel it too. It's a good feeling.
She routined.
What is happening? Oh my god, that illustration. Beautiful. I can't wait till we get to Poroyoko.
Maisie said.
You don't want to go there? Oh no, you don't want to go there.
A voice said. Maisie and Hawkmon looked down. There stood a black Koromon.
Technically they can't stand on their feet. It be cursed.
He continued, apparently a pirate.
I don't think so.
Maisie said, knowing all about it.
It is. It gets attacked and raided every night.
The continued.
By what?
Maisie asked.
a Digimon that goes by the name of Black Greymon.
The Black Koromon said.
Wow, I wonder what's going to happen. You do realize you're a D-Digivolution
I'm sorry, that says
from...
relies.
You did realize that you're a D-Digivolution of Black Greymon.
Hawkmon said, pointing out the plot.
I'm an offspring of it. I'm rogue. I'm not good or bad. I don't know why I'm going Erden voice there, but I am. So you're a blackstabber? So you're a backstabber.
Maisie said.
Exactly.
The Black Koromon said.
We could fight him.
Maisie said.
Hawkmon can become Rinkmon. Rinkmon couldn't beat him. Black Greymon's attacks are too large and would make Rinkmon lose its concentration. We'll find a way.
Hawkmon said.
Good luck, and please, save the little Poromons and the Yokomons.
Black Koromon said.
They're very scarred. We will.
Maisie said.
And then there's a beautiful illustration of Black Koromon. It's Black
So much
Koromon.
dialogue.
So we have to save a village?
Hawkmon said.
Yep. How are we going to fight? No idea. Well, we'll try our hardest, right? Of course. How long until we get there? I don't know.
Maisie sighed.
Why don't you just fly up to that tree and check? Okay.
Hawkmon said as she flew up to the top of a tree.
We're close. Wait, I thought they could both see it earlier. We're close. I'd say a few minutes.
She yelled down to Maisie.
Good.
Maisie said as Hawkmin flew to May's side. As soon as they arrived, gold smell burning.
Looks like Black Koromon was correct.
Hawkmon said.
Wow, visitors!
A voice said, it was a small Yokomon.
Will they slay the great beast?
A Poromon said.
I hope so.
Another Yokomon also said.
Hello?
Maisie said.
Will you save us?
A Yokomon said, this Yokomon had a blue scar.
So it must be a boy.
Its cheek.
Pointing down arrow. Sure.
Maisie said. A young Poromon jumped on Hawkmon's head.
Yay!
This Poromon had a red scar. The Yokomon with the scar jumped down of Poromon.
We get these scars while trying... We get these scars while trying to defend our town. He comes at night, so you'll have to wait till then. And then there's a drawing of the scarred Yokomon, the scarred Poromon, and then my Hawkmon with the pink band on its foot, so you can know it's a girl. Because gender, I guess.
Maisie awake to a roar.
Must be Black Greymon.
Maisie thought.
Hawkmon? Hawkmon! Maisie! He's here!
A voice said, it was Blue Sky Yokomon.
Okay, we should get ready.
Maisie said.
Yeah.
Hawkmon agreed.
I hope we can help them.
Maisie said. Hawkmon agreed. As they get outside, they could see a figure in the dark.
That must be him.
Maisie said to Hawkmon. Yokomon and Poromon were hiding behind Maisie.
How are you going to fight it? Sorry. How are you going to fight it?
Asken Yokomon.
Dunno.
Maisie answered.
But we will win. I hope so.
Poromon said.
Should I attack now?
Hawkmon Askel.
Yeah.
Maisie said.
Feather strike!
Hawkmon Ked. Black Guriamon turned into Hawkman and Spot 5 at Hawkman. She got hit and Plumetel onto a house. The house began to burn.
What? Hawkmon!
Maisie yelled. Hawkmon didn't get up. Maisie reached down and got a Vok. She took Asm and tossed it at Black Greymon. It got him in the eye. Black Greymon moaned and faced Maisie and began to mum toward her. Black Greymon was about to strike when something said,
Double blow!
It was Poromon. Yokomon also attacked the bullies. Were weak, but there were enough to make Black Greymon's head turn.
Nova Blast!
Black Greymon yelled as a large ball of fire emerged from his mouth. Bokomon and Yokomon got hit.
Poromon! Yokomon!
Maisie said, running towards them.
You guys okay?
Maisie askled.
Yes.
They said, but tut, they were badly bruised.
Nova Blast!
Black Greymon yelled, firmly another ball of fire.
Where are we?
Maisie shut her eyes and waited for the fire to hit her. She waited and waited. She opened her eyes. There was another Black Greymon.
Remember me?
It said with a smile. It was the Rouge Black Greymon.
Did I really
To Black
spell rouge?
Coromon.
Yeah, thanks.
Maisie said.
I'm trying to work out how to talk him. I might not be strong enough for him, but I'll be enough to hold him off for now.
The Black Greymon said.
Nova Blast!
The bad Black Greymon said.
Nova Blast!
Said the rogue Black Greymon.
How will I tell the difference between you
No,
and...
that is Rouge!
That is Rouge, you're right.
You keep saying Rouge!
I can't spell that when I was 12.
Wait, moving on.
Okay, how will I tell the difference between you and the other Black Greymon? With this.
Black Greymon turned around and Maisie could see a red stripe.
Oh my gosh. How convenient. Cool.
Maisie said. She ran over to where Hawkmon was and picked her up.
Maisie?
Hawkmon said.
Yes, you felt well. Have a rest.
Maisie said.
Okay.
Hawkmon said.
Nova Blast!
Both of the Black Greymons said. The bad Black Greymon's attack was stronger, and the Rouge Black Greymon got hit and became Black Coromon.
No!
Maisie said as she ran over to Black Coromon.
Good. Now I can destroy this village once and for all. No, don't. The Digimon of...
No! Don't!
The Digimon of Poroyoko trusted us to save their village.
Maisie said.
So?
The Black Greymon said.
So, I must defend it. Black Coromon tried to help because I was not strong enough to fight.
Maisie said, beginning to have tears in her eyes.
Poromon and Yokomon, even though the entraining Digimon attacked, you can't do this. I don't care.
Black Greymon said.
I won't let you destroy this happy village.
Maisie yelled. Then her detector became a D3 again. She unclipped it from her shorts, and there was an image of the Digi-Egg of Love that she asserted earlier. Her D3 was glowing, and then she had an idea. And that's the end of the chapter.
And then that's the end of the chapter. So join us next time for Chapter 5, Wings of Love. And it starts off with a drawing of a very purple-looking Digi-Egg of Love. That's
great.
I
All
guess
right,
they
I'm
didn't
out of
have
here.
any other colours textures.
See you, nerds.
So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. I said it.